Welcome to the Take Cover Podcast with your hosts, Jacob and Chase. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah, sure.
Well, hey, go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah, but his boss is a big supporter of what's the big police fraternity? FA. Oh, they're stickers.
I know what you're talking. I've seen the stickers. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so if you
FOP, Fraternal Order of Police.
that's it. Yeah, FOP.
Yep.
So anyway, they donate money to him every year or whatever. And when they do, they give him the stickers.
Mm-hmm.
And something about it tells me that he just does it for the stickers because. If you have one of those stickers in the back of your car,
You're
man,
golden.
yeah, you're
golden.
good. You're good to go. So
Yeah, my parents used to do that.
Yeah,
they'd have those stickers every year. They'd put an updated one in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And he's got, and there's actually my trailer that I haul around with all the band gear in it.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it from one of the members of Insulated, which is a band around town.
Mm-hmm.
And the bass player, his dad was the chief of police at OPD for
Really?
years. And a great guy, he's a good friend of mine. His son and guy, but the trailer had those stickers all over it, man, just like lit up with it, and they're still on there. And I'm pulling my trailer, dude. I've never
Hell yeah.
and that trailer's rustic, dude. It's falling to pieces, and it's one of those things where I should probably get pulled over every time I turn around.
Yeah.
And that thing, but
Hey, whatever works, man.
yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. We're here with Josh Merritt.
Hello.
Second time guest on, and his buddy
Jared Green.
Jared Green, and they just finished up with your new podcast,
They did,
right?
yeah, they did. Yeah, we did, man.
What's your new podcast, man?
It's called "What Do You Say Now," and I'm so proud of it, man. Like I've been on your podcast before, and I'm a huge podcast fan in general. I listen to them every day. It's just it's what I do during the day while I'm just doing whatever. Been a fan of them for forever and been on 1,000 of them. And yeah, this is just my fourth one that I've done, and I've wanted to do one for so long, and finally I just jumped in and did it. And I was just telling him kind of my basis for doing it is I'm a musician, you know, and I get to travel around. I have tons of buddies that are musicians and or in that circle or whatever, and we get to go out and play for people all the time. And a lot of times you're out and you got your show face on and or whatever, and you're talking to people, you're shaking hands and you're kissing babies. And I got to thinking about it, and not only just myself, but a lot of these guys, people don't know them like I know them, and me as well, you know, when I'm out. But I thought it would be really cool to, and what better way than a podcast to let people get to know some of these musicians that they just see them play.
Yeah.
And their banner on stage, and their banner saying, "Hey, thank you for coming out" afterwards. But to actually get to know some of these guys that play music every night, whether it be the musicians or the frontmen or I want to have there's guys that come out and do camera work all the time. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But all those guys, I want to have them on. I want people to get to meet them and get to know how fucking funny they are and how, you know what I'm saying? And because we were just talking about this, everybody has their own banner between each other, but I'm such a talker, but I have all my friends, it seems like I have a different banner between all of them, you know, a different way that different humor, we laugh.
A little special
way.
bond.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought, man, it would be cool to have a podcast where I could just have a conversation with that person and let other people see how me and this person interact. And,
right.
And why I love this person so much, because this is the way. So anyway, that was the kick of it. It's fresh, man, and I'm just operating off of a damn like one condenser mic and like a tablet for my live feed or whatever, man.
It's perfect, dude.
It's been going great. It's good.
Yeah.
Good. Just
it's
start
baby
for
steps.
It. Absolutely,
It's baby steps.
absolutely.
You don't want to just dive in right away and get just a fucking extreme setup.
Yeah,
and all that.
You find
shit.
out what works first, and then you
100%.
pursue that. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've been on yours. It's probably been like a year ago, wouldn't you think? It didn't seem
Close
like that
to it.
long.
Probably,
but I think
yeah.
It's been a year.
Yeah.
And you know, last time I came in, I wasn't thinking this way at all. But when you asked me to do it earlier, I was thinking, man, I'm gonna go over and see what these motherfuckers got.
Yeah.
No, but
So all the technical side of it.
Taking
Man,
notes,
that is
man.
all Chase.
Yeah.
Right.
That is all Chase. He's the brains of this whole thing, dude. I
Hell
just
yeah.
get drunk and talk.
Hey, dude, that's what it's all about.
See, he was telling you a little bit before we started, but we both worked at U.S. Bank at the time.
Yeah.
And it was just go to your cubicle, be quiet, stick your head in the computer for 8 hours, then go home. And I'm such an outgoing person. It was fucking killing me.
Oh, I bet,
like,
man.
I would constantly go to his desk and constantly get him in trouble. And I mean, it was just an everyday thing
bad.
for me, constantly getting like rode up and pulled into meetings and shit. And I just don't give a fuck. I'm
Right.
I'm way too blunt for all that.
We're
kind of
at the
shit.
right place too. We're like,
And,
already.
and so I just had a need that wasn't getting fulfilled through conversating. So I was like, one day I just messaged him. I was like, dude, you want to just fucking do a podcast or something? So we
Right.
can just talk and just get it out.
Right.
You know, I don't give a fuck if anybody listens. I don't care where it goes. I just want to do it. He was like, man, I actually like have some equipment for that already.
No shit.
Yeah,
Let's-
he had-
we were
Yeah. I was gonna say I had like a very small thing I was doing where only really kind of my close friends knew that I was like really podcasting because I had kind of figured out, I wanted to do some sort of like interview type format, kind of like what we're doing now, but I wanted it to be a good product before I started pushing it out to people.
sure.
So like I called it right down to it, and it was just like me and one other person, or me and two other people, and I probably only had 3 or 4 episodes, and I kind of put it on hold, and I kind of put it on the back burner, and maybe a couple months later, Jacob calls me up. He's like, "Hey man, would you ever be interested in doing like a podcast?" And I was like, "I have the exact thing you're gonna need to start a podcast."
That's badass,
yeah.
man.
So it ended up just working out perfectly.
Well, you want to hear a funny story? I just told this story on earlier for us, but me and Jared have been playing music together for probably over 9 years, pushing 10 years now. And we were in a band together for a long time called the Green Merritt Project. It was one of my first bands I was ever in the Owensboro circuit when I started taking music seriously and wanted to.
Where'd the green part come from?
It's
Jared
Jared
Green,
Green.
yeah.
Oh,
Just-
so green
just like the
Merritt.
color, baby.
Okay.
Well, and check it out.
Yeah.
I remember.
I thought it was like new Merritt. Like I'm a new guy on the circuit. Green Merritt. Yeah.
Well,
There's probably a lot of other people that thought
Yeah.
the same thing.
Well, I remember when we first started doing this thing, I thought one of the logo ideas I had in mind was to have a green guy on there, like the green.
I remember this conversation between us.
And Jared said, "Fuck no."
I was like, fuck that.
Man, one of the things I think Chase gave me the most resistance on, and it's kind of became a little bit of like an icon, is this poker table.
Oh yeah,
So,
I did not like the
Like
poker
I was like, dude, check it out. A poker table, it's gonna be perfect. It's relatively cheap. We
Yeah.
got it for like $70 from
Yeah.
a guy in Bowling Green. It was nasty. Had it in his garage. We cleaned it up, and I was like, dude, check it out. We can just take the cup holders out, put our mic stands there, and then we can play poker. We can just do whatever. It's a big table,
Whatever you
takes
want,
up
yeah.
most of the room. And he's like, yeah, I just don't see it working out.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna get it. We'll see.
We'll check
And,
it out. We'll see what
yeah,
goes.
and now it winds up being like they're like, oh, dude, I seen like just a big ass green thing in the screen, so I stopped to look at it for a second, and then I
Right.
seen, oh, it's your podcast.
Right.
I was checking out some of your past podcasts when Merritt had mentioned you all to me, and I saw it. And I was like, man, this is gonna be great. But these guys play poker the whole fucking podcast, and I suck at poker. So we're just gonna go with the flow here.
It's
whatever.
kind of difficult, man. Honestly, like we've had specific poker casts where we play poker like dedicated, and then we've also had just normal like get drunk with your buddies and play poker at the same time.
Yeah.
The poker's kind of like the side thing. That's kind of more how it works out because you really can't do both.
Right.
Like it's you think like, oh, just playing poker and talking, it's easy. It's not easy.
I bet. Yeah.
Especially
I
because
wouldn't.
you'll get into deep conversations and then you'll be like, wait, who was going? Who's big blind? Fuck. I
Right.
don't know.
I couldn't do it because I zone in so much, and it's because I'm not very good. So I'm very conscious.
Same, yeah.
Make
They're
sure-
like Chase. Huh, what? I'm looking
Yeah.
at the computer.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the
Yeah, he's
microphone.
got 8 million things to do over
Yeah,
there
I
all
can
the
only
time.
imagine.
He's like, now play poker too. I'm like, I'm not any good at that.
But dude, I was happy to see
Yeah.
you started one up.
Dude, yeah. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And like I said, some of my inspirations, y'all's is one of the first one I thought of. I thought,
That was
man,
awesome,
that was
man.
so cool. And there's really not that many around here.
No, there's
comparatively,
not.
you know what I mean. There's
Yeah.
not that many in town. People that are doing.
As far as I know, like as like a Facebook Live kind of show like we do, I think we're the only ones.
You guys are.
I haven't seen anybody else. do
We're
it.
the only ones.
Yeah. Are you doing it on Facebook Live?
Yeah.
Dude, that's badass.
I'm
I
just-
follow.
Yeah.
See, there's a tricky thing, and I
Yeah.
don't know if you know about it. If somebody likes your page, that's great. They liked it.
Right.
But if you don't follow the page as well, then it won't come up in your
Really?
news feed.
Okay,
So
that's-
when I post, more than likely you won't see it in your news feed unless you follow the page as well.
I was gonna say I don't
Yeah.
see y'all's unless I go look for
Right.
it. So I need to go follow it.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I recently, it's kind of caught a lot of traction. I was like, on my personal account, you're friends with me.
Right.
I share a fuckload of memes.
Yeah, and I love.
And
I was about to say. I love
Everybody
that.
messages me and is like, dude, keep it up. Your memes
You
are
have
fucking
the
great.
Best
So,
fucking memes.
I was
man.
like, Chase, what do you think about just me sharing memes to the page? He's like, well, as long as you don't get too crazy with it. I was like, dog, I started this podcast to not be censored, so
Right.
it's gonna go the same for the memes. He's like, well, we
yes.
can try it, give it a week. And the first week we had like 800 some odd reactions to my memes.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, it was up like 60%.
Right.
And I was like, fuck it, dude, I'm just gonna keep doing it. So
Yeah.
and now instead of just like only posting it to my page, because you can click share and then it says share to Facebook at the top. You just click share to a page and then select your podcast page.
Yeah.
And it'll post right to it under your podcast name.
I got you.
Yeah. So I've been doing that and I've been loving it, man.
Hell yeah. I love. That's what. I always see your memes and stuff, but like he said when we talked yesterday about me coming on, of course I went over to the page and was just trying to get relevant,
Yeah.
And I was zooming through some of the memes and stuff. I loved it so much, man. It was great. But yeah, you guys, and then Owensboro podcast, a guy I know pretty well. I've been on his a couple of times.
Who's doing that?
I'm not.
He's like, oh fuck!
Lord.
I know. It's one of those.
Put him on the spot,
I
man.
should know, but I don't. Yeah.
See, I didn't know there was any other ones in town at all. But
But
then
I've only been on his once, and,
Yeah.
and it was great. But it was it's a straight audio podcast, type deal. And,
Okay.
And he does he
Is
really
it Owensboro's own? Is that it? Or is
yeah
it?
Owensboro Zone. That's
Okay,
it. That's
sweet.
it.
I'll give them a like and a follow.
Yeah, he's great, man. He's awesome.
Chill Out Lounge. Oh yeah, he's got all kinds of stuff on here.
Yeah, yeah.
He's doing it.
And and it's really his is which I don't know what you guys consider your. Like mine's just open topic, open whatever.
That's
open
how we are,
yeah,
too.
that's me too. And
yeah.
his is very centered around, like it says, he wants it's Owensboro people. So he's got the mayor on. He said,
Oh, really? That's cool.
yeah, just people relevant to Owensboro
Mm-hmm.
and people,
See, when we first started doing it, we were doing it kind of more interview style, where we would have somebody on, and I would type up like 3 pages of topic and then subtopic questions,
Yeah.
and then topic, subtopic questions, and I would have it in front of me, and it just felt like super dry
Too
because
structured.
I was trying my best to stick to the script,
Right.
And so it was like. I couldn't carry the conversation on. In my head, I couldn't ask this question because it didn't relate.
Right.
So I was like, I got to keep it structured. And then I was listening to it. I was like, dude, this is fucking boring.
Right.
And then you run into the same issue with there's seriously not that many people in Owensboro that you can get on reliably who know about different topics.
Right,
At least
right.
the people I know.
For sure.
So most of the people I know are around my age. And it's like, I mean, we were going to talk about like drinking and fucking chasing girls all
Right,
that,
right,
So
right.
I was like, I was like, dude, fuck it, let's just talk about that then, because I
Absolutely.
fucking ditched the script.
Yeah.
Right.
And one thing I kind of want to get back to is I liked doing it. Is where we'd like brush up on some of the news articles, like the important shit going
Yeah.
on, and we'd start the show with that kind of like as a warm up type deal.
That's kind of cool.
I
because-
kind of liked it, but
Sometimes there's just nothing really going on that's worth talking about
Right.
that even pertains. But a lot of times we'll talk about like if something big in the news comes up, we talk a lot about like if there's like self-defense shootings or anything like that
For
going
sure.
on, like large news, or if there's anything big. Like last time or 2 podcasts ago, we had talked about the guy in Owensboro dressed up as a Nazi for Halloween.
Oh,
We
yeah,
skit,
man.
And we got to talk about
No,
that.
fucking
know?
idiot.
How do you know? Fucking douche, man.
So and stuff like that comes along, but a lot of times it's like, who really cares what Apple phones come out? Unless
Right,
everybody
right.
has Apple phones at the table, and
For sure.
So, but
That was what we talked. Actually,
we had a hard- we had a hard
started ours
debate
about.
on
Really?
Because he just told me when he came in, he's been on. I'm an iPhone guy, and
I think I was still on iPhone last time you were on.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Man, I'm switching back to Android. I can't take this shit." So I was like, "Cool,
Yeah.
record."
Well, the
Hey,
reason
man,
so-
why you going back?
The
to
reason
Android?
so is this is my last S6, and I ripped the battery out, but it still comes on if I've got to plug it
What
to
a fucking
charger.
savage.
So Android for real.
Hey, let me see an iPhone working like that. You
That's
won't.
what I'm saying.
Right.
Right.
It don't
Dude,
happen.
I had iPhones all my life since my first phone to up until I got this S8 Plus, and I switched because the iPhone X had just came out,
Yeah.
I think, where they took away the aux cord and the
Right.
home button, and I was like, dude, fuck that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now they actually sell the cords separate from the AirPods, so you can put your AirPods into the cords, and it's like, oh great, so now I have a $200 set of normal
Yeah.
headphones.
Right, outside of the already
Yeah.
super expensive phone. I get it, man. They got me a long time ago,
Yep.
and
It was a hard switch, dude.
Right.
Super hard switch.
Because once you have
I
all
love it
your
now.
stuff around, you know,
Yeah.
you have all the equipment and accessories around it, and plus I'm just so used to the platform,
Right.
so used to how it works, and I told him I tried to switch a couple years ago, and because I thought Samsung was doing such a great job, and I couldn't do it. I got the phone, and you have like the 2-week window with I use AT&T, so
Right.
they give you like a 2-week window where you can be like, I don't like it, I want to trade for something else. And
Yeah.
I went all the way to the day, and I was like, nah, I can't do this, and switched back. So
See, I kind of dipped my feet in a little bit because my iPhone, I think it was a 6 Plus, it just stopped working. Like I just got up and it just wasn't working anymore.
Yeah.
And come to find out, my screen had just decided to die in the middle of the night for absolutely no reason at all.
yeah,
So I took that to I think Inspector Gadgets over on like East 18th, and while it was there, I went to the AT&T store, bought I think at the time it was a S7 Edge. That's what it was, because it was the first rolled screen like this. It's got like the dip on the side, and I was like, okay, that's a super cool phone. I got it because I liked the look of it.
for sure.
And I was like, all right, so I'll just get this, and then when that phone gets fixed, I'll just sell that and recoup some of the money for the new phone, right? Well, the problem was I paid like $950 for the S7, and I wanted a four-wheeler really bad at the time, and I'd been saving for a four-wheeler, and I wound up blowing like a lot of the savings on the phone.
Oh shit.
So then Inspector Gadgets called me, and they're like, hey, man, we got your screen fixed. It's only going to be like $125. And I was like, oh. So what I wound up doing is I went back to AT&T, gave them the S7 back,
Yeah.
got my iPhone, only paid $125 for it. So then I was like, I got a four-wheeler instead.
Fuck yeah.
But then I was playing with my iPhone 6, and I was like, dude, the screen clarity is just not nearly as clear as it was on the Android. The camera wasn't nearly as good, which is hilarious because the Android camera memes, like
Yeah,
you
oh,
always
yeah.
see that,
Yeah.
like they're
Yeah.
shitty, but then it's like they've got fantastic cameras. And I was just messing around. I was like, dude, fuck this. I'm just going to switch
Yeah.
back.
That's the way I feel too. The display and the cameras on Androids. Now, as far as gutted, and this is my mistress. My SIM card phone is an iPhone 7 in my pocket, but it's dead.
Yeah.
But this is like my have a good time, fuck shit up, phone, whatever. But I haven't fully made the switch. But I mean, it's got to say something about it.
Right. It still works. Look at this motherfucker.
Yeah.
It still
This is the wireless charging station, but I've ripped the battery completely out, and it's
Dude,
still
that is one of my favorite things about Samsung. I think iPhones can do it now too, right? They like a wireless charging dock.
Yeah.
This is the 8, and it does
Yeah,
it. So,
dude,
yeah.
my favorite fucking thing. I put one beside my bed on the
Yeah.
nightstand, and before I go to bed,
Yeah.
just stand it right on there and go to sleep.
Yep.
The only thing I've noticed is Lacey has to fix it sometimes because she gets up at like 2 a.m. to let the dogs out and shit.
Yeah.
And she'll have to it'll start flashing sometimes. Just every now and then it'll start flashing. The phone will stop charging and the dock will be flashing. And you have to take the phone completely off the dock for like however long, like 2-3 seconds, and then put it back on and it'll continue charging. I have no idea why it does it, but that's the only problem I've found with it.
iPhone don't do that.
Yeah. But hey, do you guys have like iPhone Pay or anything? Like how Samsung has
yeah,
Samsung
they have
Yeah,
Apple
yeah,
Pay.
the Apple
Yeah.
Pay.
Apple Pay?
Yeah, they got Apple
Is
Pay.
it along the same lines as Samsung Pay?
Yeah,
Dude, that's awesome
it's
too.
good. I've used
That
it a
is
couple
awesome.
times. I'm so old school, man. Like I get stuck on something. I just use PayPal for
Yeah.
everything, and PayPal, of course, has been the standard for so long. But so many other things have came out since the people went to, and
I've been hearing about Cash App a lot.
I have too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of I was talking today to a musician buddy of mine that's been working with an agent and going and playing different cruise lines and stuff like that. And these cruise lines and stuff that you go and pay or go play are using like a Vimo and stuff like that.
Really?
to pay with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Instead of writing you a check or something like that,
Oh,
they
when we went,
actually
you had
pay
to
you
have,
through these.
think like an ID badge that doubled as a link to your credit card. So they would set up your credit card on your ID badge.
Yeah.
And then you'd use your ID badge as your credit card. So if it got stolen or something, it didn't matter.
Right.
So I think it was something like that when we went. But that was 2-3 years ago.
That makes sense.
On Carnival.
The casinos I was gonna say the casinos are doing that too. I've got
really?
That's doing the casinos, and they pay through the apps or whatever.
Wow.
Which is it's good and everything, but the thing about those apps is there's usually a big turnover spot between there. If you've ever bought something offline or bought something from somebody, you can see that, through PayPal. It's a lot of times you mail out the product, the person will get the product or whatever you're selling them, and sometimes it takes a week for the money. I don't know what happens.
Clear.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like 3 days at
Which
least.
is sketchy because you mail something to somebody, they have opened it, or using the whatever it may be, they're using the product.
Yeah.
And you still haven't got your money for that product.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like they're holding on to that money. It's in the system. It's being transferred. You're going to get it, but to me, it's just it's such an awkward thing.
I had the opposite experience, man. Like I was it's gonna sound stupid, but I was like, fuck it, it's through PayPal. At least I'm kind of insured in a way. But I was looking for a particular item online. Guy said he had one. It's like, sweet. I PayPal'd him $160 for goods and services, not for family. Where,
Right.
So it was like where PayPal gets a percentage and it's insured and everything like that. Never sent it. Like ran me around circles for probably a month, and then I was like, if you don't give me a tracking number, because I was asking for a tracking number for like a week, and I was like, seriously, if you don't give me a fucking tracking number, I'm just gonna like file this for fraud and then get my money back. He's like, all right, fine, I'll get you a tracking number by the end of the day. End of the day would come, he wouldn't reply. He'd reply like the next morning at like 1 p.m. And I was like, okay, now he's replying, so I'll wait, until he doesn't reply. So it was like the perfect little cycle.
Yeah.
Then he finally gave me a tracking number. I'd click on it, and it would say it has not been processed through FedEx yet. And then I was like, yo, it says it hasn't been processed through FedEx yet. You're like, oh, well, I just dropped it off this morning. It'll take a little. I was like, you said you dropped it off last week. Why is it just getting dropped? So it was just inconsistency after inconsistency.
I hate that shit, man.
And I turned it into fraud, and they were super nice, man. I called PayPal directly, and I was like, yeah, this is what happened. I've got all the screenshots here. You can see he's been running me in circles, has not produced anything. I've got not got anything in the mail. And they were like, yeah, he's actually got 2 red flags on his account for this already. So they said that they were going to block his PayPal account and give me my money back for it. So I got a full refund.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You don't play no games over
Hell
at PayPal.
Yeah.
Well, and what I found, and I think this is the only reason that I found this because of myself, but a lot of people I think just get lazy with it, especially if you selling stuff online. It's not. Sometimes it's not as much a fact of a fraud as it is they get lazy. You buy the thing, they take their time taking it to the post office.
Well, I get off work at 5 today, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I
they
can't
skip
get it till
around.
Saturday.
They kept me till 6.
Yeah.
Not realizing the person that bought it and paid for it is like already
Freaking
probably
out.
walking into it thinking, what if this is a fraud?
Right.
And then the next day when nothing's happened, like, it's a fraud.
Yeah.
Third day after it's happened, they're thinking, they're ripping me.
Yeah,
Motherfucker,
about ready
give
to
me my
file this
money back.
claim.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for sure. And a lot of times I think it's a situation of laziness. But
Yeah.
still, if you're not doing your part in the deal, if you're gonna sell online and stuff and not
Part of
get
it.
the shit, you need
Yeah,
to,
especially after a month. Fuck you.
fuck you,
Yeah.
fuck yeah,
Get your shit straight.
Yeah.
no shit,
100%.
man. Like,
Dude, so I was going to say about Samsung Pay. When I first got this phone, I was still working at the bank, and dude, it was getting me in a lot of fucking trouble because they've got those little like stick-on card readers or whatever.
Yeah.
For the ATM or the vending machines, and so it was real easy just to walk by one and just swipe up, boop,
Bam.
get whatever I want. I was like, oh fuck, I'm spending so much money doing this. The old lady was getting on to me and shit.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, all right, I gotta stop this. So I removed it. I removed my card information, so the app wouldn't work anymore. And then I went to the Home Depot the other day, probably last week, to buy a new workbench, and it was like 9:30, I think, when I got there, and they closed at 10. So by the time I got done looking around at whatever I wanted, blah blah blah, I was at the checkout and reached for my wallet, didn't fucking have it. I was like, oh no, and it was like 9:52, I think. And so they closed in 8 minutes. Did not have enough time to come home, get my wallet, go back and buy the shit. So I called Lacey. I was like, give me my card information, typed it into the Samsung Pay. It sent a VIN verification number that it auto detects somehow. And then just swiped up and paid like that. It was super convenient. That was one time that it really saved me.
Right.
But other than that, it's got me in trouble.
I can see that, man.
Yeah.
My debit card still gets me in trouble.
Yeah.
I go back and forth to. I know if I keep cash on hand, I won't spend it. Like I'm tight
Really?
in that way. But my debit card, if I have,
Because you don't see it.
Right.
It's imaginary numbers in the bank.
I
Like,
leave
you
it at
don't.
home a lot of
Exactly.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm 33, and when I was growing up, even debit cards when I was growing up were pretty much they were a new and upcoming thing. It's scary. Like I'm one of those like my dad. Like I'll keep all my cash in a hole in the ground.
Right,
The bank will
right.
never have it. Like it's a weird thing, and it is. It's like technology can be. Technology will steal your fucking money.
With me, man, it's just because everything's linked to your bank account now.
Yeah.
And there's so many subscription type things now.
See,
and
I hate that. I hate
do
having
too,
anything
man.
that automatically
Yeah,
drafts it
me
out
too,
of your account.
because it's
But so much shit almost
it
requires
becomes
it
this
now.
machine. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I hate even the thought of the machine.
Yeah.
And
But you know how inconvenient it is to get a paycheck, then have to go to the bank to cash it,
Right.
then have to go to 18 different places
Yeah.
to pay all your bills.
right.
And then
You
leave
know,
your debit card into it, and it takes it in because you don't take it out. You got to wait till the next day to go to the bank to get your debit card
It's
back
just
out.
so inconvenient to have cash anymore.
It is, man.
It's
It
almost
really
like
is.
when you're like, you gotta have cash for that. Like going to the Dipper. Come on, Dipper. What the fuck, man?
Get an
Step it up,
iPad.
Dipper.
Don't act like you ain't making no money.
First
over
of
there.
all,
Right,
let's
right.
tear down the hill behind the Dipper so we can have an actual fucking parking lot. So
Right.
we might be able to drive down the right lane of Parrish at some point at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon without making me want to ram through every goddamn person parked there on the street. So let's get an actual parking lot, and then maybe let's upgrade our systems a bit.
No
You know,
shit, man.
Christ, they're owned by fucking Moonlight,
Oh, they are. I
the
didn't,
biggest goddamn barbecue
I
place.
didn't know they were owned by
Big
Moonlight.
Dipper
Yes.
is still in that mindset that, these big parking lots, they'll never take off.
Oh,
I hate it, but yeah,
kills me, man. You
yeah.
ever try to drive down
Oh
Parrish?
fuck yes, dude!
Dude,
I already
fuck
know.
that.
Yeah. It's insane.
I
Man.
swear, my insurance should just give me one free pass a year to just fucking plow through everybody in line.
Accident forgiveness.
No brakes, shifting gears.
Right.
That is the one thing. Because then you almost like nobody's gonna fucking let you over either.
No,
So you
fuck
gotta
no.
wait with your blinker on. Now you're the asshole sitting in the Dipper drive-through line.
Right,
You
right.
know you don't want to be there.
Right.
And then everybody trying to turn left in the Dipper is screaming their fucking head off.
Everybody. Have you ever watched and seen how many? I'm like, seriously, it's fun to think about, but just watch next time. Everyone's pissed.
Oh, everybody.
Everyone going to the Dipper is so mad. By the time you get your burger, I imagine every fucking person's like, just
And listen,
That's an empty belly. I'm waiting on my goddamn cheeseburger and chili. That's what they do.
and everything they sell there is just like you could make it at home.
yeah, it's true.
There's absolutely nothing special about it other
true,
than just
man.
it's
You probably
homemade
make
food.
it better at home, actually. Yeah.
It's what fucking kills me about that place, dude.
crazy.
And every day there are hundreds of customers
Yeah.
without fail.
Yep.
Without fail. You could almost park in the left-hand turning lane, walk across, get your food, get back in your car, and leave
Oh.
faster than you could turn into that
I
place.
guarantee it. I'd put money on
It's
that.
vintage.
For sure.
It's heirloom vintage shitty
Yeah.
food that you can buy in town.
Heirloom vintage shit, dude.
You're not wrong,
Right.
but they're super nice.
They are, man. They're so-
Give them that.
I think that's why people fuck with
They
them.
have
man,
to
is
be.
that
Shit, they don't
yeah.
have a parking
Their
lot or anything.
milkshakes?
Right.
Here's the thing, okay? I don't know if y'all agree with me on this. A milkshake, right? So when I order a milkshake, I want something that I can drink.
Well, yes, I know
So-
where you're going with
I
this.
think about
man.
this every
When
fucking
you get
day.
a moon, okay, so go to Arby's and get a milkshake. That's a fucking milkshake. You can drink that motherfucker. It's delicious. It's liquid ice cream,
Right.
right? You go to the Dipper and they give you a cup of ice cream,
You have to. That thing has to thaw for an hour
for a
before you can
while.
drink it. I get it.
and then when you go to McDonald's, they just don't give you one at all.
At all,
It's
yeah.
fucking
It's
broken.
broken.
It's out of order.
Man, we got me and this guy at McDonald's have some stories, man. I'd love to tell them.
Yeah,
Back when we
we
used to play
we
together.
we single-handedly, we double-handedly replaced
Double-
we replaced the entire staff at the parish McDonald's.
That's no lie, man.
Really?
We went there time and time after we played late night gigs, and every time we would go, if we were the only customers there, they would fuck our order up. And it was so fucked up, it was intentional. You knew.
Right,
If we,
right.
with eye contact, you make eye contact. You can tell a man.
Right.
You could tell a man. So finally, we went in one night and we ordered. and you could just already tell their fingers were fucking it up. And the manager came up to the front, and she laid the manager key, like the master key ring, down on the counter.
Snagged.
So I grabbed it, and I went up to Peabody. I'm from Ohio County, and I went up to Peabody, and I threw that son of a bitch as far as I could throw it in Peabody water. And I came back the next week, and they had a whole new staff. And they were that much better.
They fired every fucking
They
body.
fired everybody.
They were
That's
not
not it.
playing games.
When we talk about this set of keys, I want you to understand.
Yeah.
This motherfucker was probably
Janitorial.
the keys of the front door,
Yeah.
keys of the bathroom, probably the
Safe.
keys of the fucking safe, in
Safe,
the back,
yeah,
probably
the
keys to
registers.
everything. And listen, here the deal. The reason he grabbed them is he was so fucking mad because we waited for 20 minutes for this burger, and I get it.
You get it?
But he
It's
was
chicken
like,
nuggets.
"Oh, you just have to know Jared though. But Jared was over his fucking steaming. We're drunk. We done played for 4 hours. We're tired, ready to go home. We just want a goddamn burger at McDonald's, and it's taking 20 minutes.
We got
Bitch.
women we're trying to buy nuggets for and impress out in the
Exactly.
car.
Yeah, impressed. Hey, listen, bitch. Anything on the dollar menu, all right?
And the
Don't
party,
don't get greedy.
and the part I didn't tell you is the manager was being a dick. That's why he got.
Oh,
that's why he got
yeah,
his
fuck
ass.
him.
That's why he got his ass fucked. So
Yeah.
here's what happened. Jared said something to him like, "What the hell's going on?" And he was like, "Well, you're just going to be. It's 2:00 in the morning. It's different. You know, we gonna got a couple people back here."
Yeah.
And then got smart and threw his keys down. And then he walked
it.
in the back, and there was nobody up there. And Jared was like, and them keys disappeared, and nothing happened with them keys besides they landed in a fucking hole somewhere. But
Out where
I
John
guarantee
Prine
you,
probably he's gonna write a song about him soon because that's out where his parents live.
I guarantee you, it ruined that motherfucker's
Yeah, career.
month. Yeah, exactly. man,
well,
'cause
let's be honest. It ruined his job.
it did.
I don't
no
eat,
doubt.
I don't eat much McDonald's anymore, but do they follow your podcast?
Fuck them.
Fuck 'em.
Dude,
Fuck 'em,
so
feed 'em grapes.
I had a similar experience there. So we were at a house party, and it was like probably 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, it was super early in the morning. I'll say it that way. And almost everybody left, and it was just like 4 of us. So we all got in a car, drove around the corner to McDonald's over here on Parrish, and we were the only ones we were the only ones at the speaker to order, right? We're sitting there. Nothing.
Yeah.
Still sitting there. Nothing. And so got Zach driving. He was like, hello? He was like, 1 second, sir. And then it was 10 minutes of nothing still. I'm like, are you going to take our orders or what? And he was like, yeah, just 1 minute. And like got shitty on the speaker.
Oh, fuck.
And Zach said, no, fuck you. So we drove around to the window. And before we got to the window, there was a truck sitting there. And you know, this is how long that motherfucker had been there dedicated to his food. He had got out of his truck, put the tailgate down, and was sitting on his fucking tailgate waiting for McDonald's. He wasn't even at the food window.
Oh, my
He was at the pay window.
The pay window. Oh, my
And
God.
so we're like, dude, how long have you been here? He's like, probably like an hour. I'm like, dude, go home.
principle. It's the principle of the fact now.
You could have went to Kroger, bought burgers.
Right.
we
Took
were,
him home,
we
grilled the
were all the
motherfucker.
way deflated at this point because drunk us was really craving some McDonald's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we're like, all right, fuck, no, we're going to get somebody in here. So we start beating on this window. We're like, come here. And finally, this dude comes over, and what's his name? I went to school with him.
Asshole.
Rico.
Oh, Rico.
Rico Brady?
I
Bracy?
know Rico, yeah.
Yeah.
Good guy.
It was him.
Yeah.
He was in there. He came to the window, and we're like, hey, are you going to fucking take our orders? And he was like, yeah, just 1 minute. We're like, no, you said that at the speaker.
You said like 30 minutes ago.
had
Yeah.
no intention of taking it back there.
Right.
And then he just turns around. He shuts the window, turns around, and walks back.
Yeah.
Don't see him again for like an hour, and then we leave. Guy in the truck was still fucking chilling.
Jesus. Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous. I don't know what he was doing back there, just snoozing or something.
So many nights at 3 o'clock. And I don't know why. Well, I do because it's the closest place that was open that late. But so many nights we went to McDonald's to get some grub after a show. Which, you know, we get done like 1:30. So
hating
time to get back.
ourselves that we had to go there 'cause that's the only
Yeah.
place open.
Yeah.
But so many times.
That or
That
Taco
happened
Bell.
one night. I remember one night Jared was so fucking mad that it took so long.
Every
They-
story
they-
begins with me being pissed off.
They
I'm
gave
starting to feel like you're a little bit of a hothead.
they gave us our drinks, and we were sitting outside waiting. He was, God, I'm tired of this shit. And he swung around, and we were standing like outside the main door of McDonald's against the wall or whatever. He said, I'm tired of this shit. And went to sling his drink up against the brick wall outside, but he got too close, and he nipped his fingers.
Pulled my nails
And
off.
I thought it jammed all 4 of his fingers, like bam.
Which at McDonald's in that atmosphere
and then he's
pisses
more
you off
mad.
even more.
You're
like, I'm just gonna wait
even
for
more
this.
pissed off at an inanimate object that just whooped your ass.
I can't wait for this preteen female that works here to come outside so I can whoop her ass.
If that was some fucking drywall, it'd be fucked up right now.
Oh, shit.
Oh man,
McDonald's.
I've had that fucking.
Fuck you, I'm coming for a quarter pounder after this. But sure.
Dude, I remember one time my dad, we used to have this, it was like an old dog pen in the side yard that was just there when we moved into the house, and it was like a honeysuckle bush had like halfway taken it over and been just knocked down and battered. Just a pile of shit in the yard is what it was. And he tasked me with taking it down officially and burning it.
Yeah.
So I had to get all the fencing, like the chain link out of it, and then just burn the wood. So I was out there, and for whatever reason, I was like fucking 12. So I just me with a hammer for no reason.
Yeah.
And unsupervised, of course. And so I was out there, and I think it was just a random nail sticking out of the post, and I just wanted to drive it in, just wanted to, you know. And so I hold it, and I try to hit it, and I smash the fuck out of my thumb. And it was like an just in everything I had kind of swing, and it landed right on my thumbnail. And that was the first time it ever happened. And I was like screaming in the yard, just cussing, and. After about 30 minutes, I settled down. I was like, no, fuck that now. I'm going to go get it.
Right.
You know, so I go back over there, and I'll be damned if I didn't smack my finger again. First swing.
God, same one?
Dude.
Same one?
Same
Oh,
fucking... It was
man.
this thumb.
Oh.
And the next day, it was purple, and my
I can only
fingernail was
imagine.
falling off.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. You want to talk about being mad at an inanimate object? You could do nothing to. You
yeah,
can't,
right.
You cannot hurt a fence post.
Right,
I'm
I
telling
guarantee you that.
That's when you go take lunch at McDonald's and take it out on the manager.
Ching,
Hey, you got your
ching,
keys
mother-
on you?
You got to take keys on.
Ching, ching. Jesus.
I've had some funny experiences at McDonald's. Some I can't even talk about.
Some of them we shouldn't have.
Yeah, we are live. Just let me reiterate.
Allegedly, that story happened.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So, man, you got any tours coming up? What's going on the music front?
Man, I've been staying close to home. I'm working on an album. I've got a album that's supposed to be finished up. It's my first studio Nashville album that's supposed to be coming up the first of this year. But I'm kind of just doing it as I go, taking my time on it. So everybody's wanting to know a release date and stuff. But I'm just taking my time and figuring out when we're going to do that. But until then, I've been staying close to home lately. I haven't been out much. Had the podcast going, doing some stuff around the house. Of course, I've got a daughter now, and I've taken this year to kind of just be with her and and take with her. And the tri-state keeps me busy though, man. I play in Evansville a lot, Owensboro a lot.
What's the
Bowling
best
Green.
place to go? Like arguably for people my age, Taylor's is probably just about the only fucking place to go here. Where's the best place in Evansville?
In Evansville,
I've heard Marina Point.
Lamasco's.
Lamasco's?
Lamasco's is the
Oh,
spot.
yeah?
Lamasco's
Is
is
it
the spot.
poppin'?
And Jared actually has just done a couple of shows at Lamasco's recently. And,
Man, they've got some amazing bands. They've got some. The last band I saw was they were the next to last band was out of Buffalo. They were amazing, and the last band they were actually out of Nashville. And it's funny because me and my girlfriend Danielle were when they took the stage. They were a reggae band, unbelievable, like a 7-piece reggae band called Roots of Rebellion.
Well, it
And
was a 6-piece, and one guy was just hitting a bong.
right.
There were a lot of them there.
Just the
And we were
bubble
like,
sound
"Where
in
do
the
you
back.
He's got a whole pedal board hooked up to that. But they were great, man. They were a great reggae band, and it really, I've never been to Lamasco's when they've had a band from out of town that hadn't been unbelievable.
Right.
They're unbelievable bands. I played lead for a girl from Iceland, one of our mine and Merritt's mutual friends named Dilikus. She comes in from Iceland and plays, and got to play for her, and it was a great time.
Yeah, man.
It's a great bar. Great bar.
It is. I love it. I've got to do a few shows there with them. They're one of those places. It's the bar is centered around the music that they bring in.
I like that.
It's their big thing. They know that they're a place that I wouldn't call them strictly a music venue because they're not that. They are a bar. They are places trying to sell that side of it, but it's so equal on both sides. They get good music in. They don't just get the, whatever's happening. It's very hard to get into play there actually, just because they're so strict about their music they get in. They get quality music in.
How many originals do they let you play?
Oh, they want originals.
Really? So they encourage it?
Which is totally
That's awesome.
That's why I say it's totally unusual for a bar venue, because most of the time the bar venues, they want the stuff that's going to make people dance and they want the cover stuff. And
they don't want the skibbity bop bop.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's the first time I'd ever heard you play that, was at the convention center.
Is that right?
That brought me so much happiness.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
because you were fucking
hammered.
Hammered. We were down at it was the last Friday after 5, so we were down there watching the Naked Karate Girls.
Oh yeah,
having a blast, dude. Drinking some beer down there, and then they were done. We weren't ready to go home. Yeah. It's too early for a bar still, so we went on down to the convention center, and we walked in right as you were playing. And you were like,
that was this year.
Yeah, it was the last Friday after 5.
I was
this year.
Yeah, I did it every few years. I just want to make sure it was.
Yeah, this past one.
Yeah, and what you call it? I recorded you. I have it's almost flawless except for this drunk fuck singing along at the beginning.
Hell yeah.
It's a good fucking song.
man.
Yeah, of In the End. Dude, fucking phenomenal song.
Thank you, man.
Phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I got like a perfect recording of it. But and then you said that that was one of your like local favorite songs, was the Skibbity Bop Bop song.
It is, yeah, it is.
It's such a fun thing to say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It rolls off the tongue.
Like it's got a name, but just call it the Skibbity Bop Bop
That's
song
right,
because
I
it's
should.
way more fun.
I should.
It was the last Friday after 5. The one.
I don't know if this one was it the because my band had like a slot there this year, and then was it the very last night of Friday After 5?
Yeah, it was the last Friday After 5 they had. They had the Naked Karate Girls, and then you guys were in the convention center.
Okay, so that one, if I'm not mistaken, that one was actually a package show that I put together, but it was Elliot Sublett, Insulated, my band, and the Andy Brasher band.
Yeah, we caught the last two. You guys and the Andy Brasher band.
Okay, yeah. So Jared actually played for the Andy Brasher band.
I cut a lot of hair off since then, but I'm the lead guitarist for.
Yeah,
I remember that then.
Yeah.
I thought you'd look familiar. I'd seen you somewhere.
It looked like shit. Yeah,
a lot of heroin, dog.
He did. He had really long hair.
That's funny. I hear that from everybody.
Fucking crank will do that to you.
But Andy, oh man. But yeah, Jared was playing with the Andy Brasher band that night, so that's cool that you guys were there.
Yeah,
man.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
but yeah, that was a great night. But yeah, I love the fact that Lamascos, they push the original scene, And here's the deal, like Taylor's, I play there. It's kind of my home base just because I do an open mic there every Wednesday. It's a regular gig for me when I'm in, as long as I'm in town, not
Are they getting busier on Wednesdays?
But it's hit or miss,
Yeah.
and it always has
Depends
been.
on the time of year sometimes,
I know.
absolutely
Me and
does.
Zach, when we wandered in there one Wednesday night, and you were in
I
there
remember
playing.
seeing you guys.
Yeah.
And it's Wednesday. I've played for 2 people, and Jared comes down about every
That's
Wednesday
my favorite.
too.
When it's just us.
I like it too, man. And that's the thing. Everybody always comes in, they're like, "Man, I'm sorry, there's not more people here." And I'm kind of like, "Well, I play every weekend. You have to understand. You know what I'm saying?" And if we're lucky, most of the time, usually the weekend shows are really busy. They're really hectic. So the Wednesday ones, I'm really glad when there's a crowd there. Really, and it does make the show better. I'm not gonna lie, but also if there's 3 or 4 people that are really sitting around and listening to the songs, and and thing about the small crowds too is I always make sure with the small crowds that it's the in between is not just me talking. It's more, most of the time it's like, "Hey, Mark, I know you," or whoever, "Hey, how have you been this week, man? Let's hear." You know what I'm saying? Like I talk to people like that. So I like that side of it.
Yeah.
I get something out of that, I guess. I don't know. So
Get a little more social.
The Wednesdays, there's some of them that are more busy than Saturday night. I've seen it more busy than Saturday night on a Wednesday, and then there's some shows I play for 2 people there.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah, man.
I just
what's that song?
anymore. I don't even get upset about it. I just take the night for what it's worth. If it's a slow night, I gear myself toward that and kind of go with that. If it's a busy one, then you step it up a notch and
Yeah.
put on a good show. You
Put
know,
on the 2-step.
so yeah, right. So
What you call it? I was driving home the other day, and Pandora put on a song, and I was wondering if you had ever covered it because you would do it fucking phenomenally. It's Drake White, Making Me Look Good Again.
I do. I just
You
started
do
covering.
cover-
I just
dude,
started.
I bet you
Awesome.
fucking kill
Yeah,
it.
I just started covering that song. So,
Dude, when it's just
yeah.
me in the van, roll up the window so nobody can hear me, and just scream. Top
Yeah, right.
It's fuck, like just the Chris Stapleton song, Either Way.
Yeah,
That's the kind of song you just have to fucking yell.
and those are
And-
those are the kind of that's the
I
kind of
love
stuff
it, yeah.
I try to do. You know, so I
awesome.
love that stuff, man. Drake White, he's huge, man.
Crazy good voice.
I love it,
Correct.
man.
Anybody like him, Chris Stapleton, anybody can hit those. Like you can just fucking belt it, and it sounds awesome.
Thank you, man.
And then some people belt it, and they sound like a dying cow. And, like, fortunately, I was gifted with that, so I just talk.
You're blessed. You're blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chase, I feel like I'm just listening through the room, man. I don't feel like I hear myself.
Oh, I
at
turned
all.
you down because
Well, I'm getting something in
Oh.
my ear from your stagehand that it's cigarette break. Somebody
Oh,
tell
it
me.
is a cigarette break. It is a cigarette break. Yeah. Hit it, baby. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
man, I don't know. I've been. I don't want to sound like the old pretentious guy in the room that's saying, I've been doing it so long.
Well, how long have you
I'm not
actually
that-
been doing?
Man, like 7 or 8 years professionally, where I'm making money and do it. I've been full time doing it for going on 5 years now. So full
That's
time,
awesome.
full time.
Yeah.
The thing I pay my OMU bill with is
Really?
music money. So
That's got to feel good, man, because you
It does.
You weren't handed like $1 million bill and said, "Hey, go make
No.
music."
Small loan of $1
It's-
million.
Yeah, small loan of $1 million and go make music.
I'm doing it a gig at a time, man, and it takes all of them, and that's why we're still playing. I've played some really big shows, like the Friday After 5 shows, and
That was super cool.
yeah. Well, we got to open up for Corey Smith last year. That was great. We've got to open up for Hank Williams Jr. We've opened up for Charlie Daniels Band. We've done the big shows, and then at the same time, this Friday I'm playing at Malay's Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Hey, sometimes you go down to Malays, man, and that's where it's at.
It
I
is,
tell
man.
you what.
Well, all my family's out from that part of the county.
Yeah.
They're from the east side of Davis County, and that's why I love playing those shows. But Malay's, if you've ever been there, it's about 3 of these rooms we're sitting in. You know what I'm saying? It's a small.
It's a
small
tavern.
place. It's a tavern,
Yeah.
man, and it's a honky tonk by all means, and we made decent money there. I won't say they don't pay us good, but we make decent money there. But we go out and the room's always full. People are always hyped to hear us, and
That's got to feel awesome.
I love those. I say that to say I love those shows just as much as I love the big ones where the lights are so bright that I can't see anybody,
Oh, really?
And that's what you don't think about is those big shows like the Corey Smith shows and the shows like that. I love it so much. We played there was 2,000 people there in Madisonville, and
That's for Madisonville. That's super.
That's
awesome.
the entire
Madisonville's
town.
been. Well, let me just say, Madisonville's been killing it on their shows here lately. They've been doing a series. They call it the. What is it called? It's like Madisonville Midday or something like that. But it's the equivalent of our Friday After 5, except they get these huge national acts to come in and do them, and then they have more local or relevant people from the tri-state or state to come in to open for them. So it's like the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? Which is awesome. But so they've been killing it. But anyway, that Corey Smith show, I say that to say it's a huge show, huge turnout. Corey Smith's got a huge following, and I loved that. It was great being in front of all those people, but you can only see the first 5 rows. So really, it's as far as play wise, it's no different than playing in the clubs because the only people I can interact with because of the lights are the first 5 rows.
Really?
So yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
But that's
did
just
you guys compete
stuff you don't know?
For what was it? It was for a radio station for like Red, White, and Boom. You didn't compete for that?
I don't guess so.
I think it was to open for Low Cash. No, I think that was a different contest.
It was that was
Yeah.
the WB Cara put that on.
I think Blackford Creek won.
They did, yeah. That they won that one at the Open Up. No, we didn't do that. I just was too busy. I didn't have the time to put in for it. So,
I wanted to go to Red, White, and Boom so bad.
yeah,
But I had to work.
I don't know nothing about it, to be honest. I kind of heard of it, but
It was like Toby Keith, like a bunch of big names were there.
oh wow,
Yeah, it was middle of nowhere, Kentucky. I'd never heard of the town before.
well, I went to a festival like that a couple of months ago. It was called a Tradewater Festival. It's a relatively new festival in Providence, Kentucky, which is like western Kentucky, down there like in the Paducah, Madisonville, like in
Okay.
that little circle. But this festival was out in the middle of nowhere, and it was only the third year of doing it, so it's still catching on. That's what people don't think about those festivals. It takes 4 or 5 years to get a good following going for those things. And this was like the third year for it. But they had Tracy Lawrence was the headliner for it. They had Chris Knight there. They had several big acts. But anyway, I just went down. A friend of a friend got me some tickets to go down. I got all access passes to go down, just hang out and just chill out. I wasn't playing or anything, but we get to go afterwards up to the cabin. There was a hunting cabin on this lodge, which was like a mansion that they had all the artists staying in or whatever. And we got to go back to that afterwards and just jam out in the commons area.
Badass.
And the band members of all the bands were playing. They had a big smorgasbord out to snack on us. It was badass. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was really cool. Tracy Lawrence was the headliner of this. Are you familiar with Tracy
Yes,
Lawrence?
very
Okay,
familiar.
awesome. Yeah, he just played here in town, and my buddy, our buddies in Blackford Creek opened for him, and I heard it was a great show. Went over great. But anyway, Tracy Lawrence at this particular show, he was. A couple people told me he was kind of being an asshole backstage and stuff. Was being real pretentious, and he went up to this band lodge. And they kind of stayed on the bus. They were being real whatever about it. Well, anyway, I got to go up to this thing. Well, my dad was with me, and we went into this commons area. And in this commons area they had, it was like a big living room, but they had some speakers and a PA system set up and stuff where people could jam. And this was the third night of this thing, and this was the last night that we were there. And we were only there for that last night. So we went up. They told us what was going on, and a couple people asked us to play. So me and my dad was with me, and my dad plays fiddle. So me and my dad ended up playing, and all the artists and everybody they ended up coming in the living room. Everybody was jamming with us. It was great.
Yeah.
It was just me and my dad performing for these people. And the owner of the property, the lodge, the guy that put the festival on, everything. He was like 70 years. I can't think of his name, but he ended up coming up, and it's his place, of course. He's got guitars hanging all over the walls and stuff. He ends up coming up, brings the guitar up, sits and is just jamming with us. He can't play real great, but he's just jamming along. But I'm watching him, and it's the owner of this whole damn thing. I know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've already been told that. And he's just jamming along with us, having a good time. So me and my dad are just like, whatever. So he's jamming along. Well, the stage manager that this guy had hired to kind of coordinate the artists and all that stuff kept coming up to him, and he's like, man, Tracy Lawrence is outside. He's throwing a fit. He's wanting this, he's wanting that, blah, blah. And he came up several times. And this guy, you can tell, he's just this laid-back guy. He put this whole thing on, probably threw a bunch of money into it. It's on his place. But you can tell he's this old country guy, country boy that just wanted to throw a festival, a big-ass, big-money festival. Yeah. And he hired people to do the important stuff. He didn't want to be a part of it. But they kept coming up to him, and they was like, Tracy Lawrence is pissed, and the stage manager was like, what do we do, blah, blah. So he came up to him 3 times, and the second time that he came up, the guy told him, he's like, hey, I hired you to handle this. I'm trying to have fun right now. Well, the third time the guy came up to him, this guy, and he's my hero to this day because of this. And let me rewind real quick and tell you how this kind of thing works for anybody that doesn't know.
That's a fucking cliffhanger there.
I know, but check us out. I have to tell you this to tell you. The way those kind of things work on these festival circuits and stuff is a band, like a touring band, especially somebody like Tracy Lawrence, they have what's called a stage manager that's out with them, okay? Mm-hmm. They have a guy that's takes care of everything they need on the bus, when they get to the show, Tracy Lawrence doesn't go talk to the venue or whatever, and the stage manager does. You know what I'm saying? Tracy Lawrence doesn't talk to nobody. He stays on the bus till it's time to play. When he goes out, all of his shit's set up where it's supposed to be set up. He picks up his guitar and just starts playing.
Okay.
And when he's done, he gets back on the bus. The stage manager makes sure that all that stuff's there. That's his job. He's the guy that Tracy Lawrence has hired to make sure everything goes right so that he doesn't have to bitch at nobody.
Yeah.
The stage manager does. So if Tracy Lawrence has a complaint, he doesn't go bitch to the owner or whoever. He bitches to his stage manager. He cusses that guy out.
Yeah.
That guy then goes and cusses the stage manager of the festival out, which is the guy I'm talking about. Then if that guy can't handle it, he has to go talk to the owner of the place and figure out what the best option is, because that's the guy that's paying for everything that's going on. So that's the chain of command that was going on the 3 times that this owner is receiving these messages or whatever.
There's 2 big guys bitching through an assistant.
Absolutely. So the third time, they come and bitch to the owner who's playing with me and my dad, okay? Who's playing with me and my dad, trying to just have a good time, like we're on a back porch or some
Relax,
shit.
jamming.
The third time that it happened, he was so fucking pissed. He slammed this fucking, it's an expensive Martin guitar. He slammed it down the stand. He said, well, I'll go take care of this shit if you can't. And waltzed out of this big cabin. Everybody in the room, not including me and my dad, everybody in the room put our shit down, waltzed outside to see what was going to fucking happen.
Motherfucker's going to fight Tracy.
Some big shit, man. Yeah, seriously.
World star.
Yeah, so, yeah. And seriously, though, that's exactly where I was at with it. And so anyway, we waltzed out on the porch, and Tracy Lawrence's bus is kind of up on the hill from this place. And you watch this guy. He waltzes outside. Tracy Lawrence's manager that handles his shit is standing about halfway. There's this big yard, okay? And so the bus is up on the ridge. Tracy's manager standing halfway down this hill. And then the other halfway down the hill, there's this cabin where we're at. Well, this owner waltzes up the hill. Tracy's guy standing there, waltzes right fucking past him like he ain't even there.
Oh, shit.
Waltzes up on this fucking bus that he's not even supposed to be on, even though he's the owner. Waltzes right up on this fucking bus. And from probably 60 yards away, you can hear this guy yelling at Tracy, get your fucking shit and get off my fucking property right now, blah, blah.
God
and
damn.
dude, let me tell you, his band and his people were assholes and elbows throwing shit on the bus, blah, blah, blah. And they fucking squealed tires getting out of there, man. It was incredible.
Damn.
It was one of the coolest.
What were they bitching about?
This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was probably nothing. It was probably his chicken wings weren't done or something. Dude, he was being that pretentious, man.
Wow.
And
Damn.
I've known
I
four,
hate-
I've known 4
especially-
people from our hometown that had inner runs with Tracy Lawrence, and I've always heard the same thing, that he is a diva, like Celine Dion
Really?
and Mic Check diva.
and
I
it's
hate
asshole.
hearing, especially with country artists that are supposed like old time country artists. I would consider him one of the old time country
Yeah.
artists.
Right.
And like to me, those guys are like cowboys in my head. So to hear that he's a fucking princess just
Yeah.
kills me. You
Me
know?
too.
Well,
yeah.
and it sucks because he's a hero of mine. I love his
Right.
songs, man.
Yeah.
I play his songs, you know, and grew up on his music and stuff. And I will say he was in town this weekend. I honestly didn't bring this up because he was in town. I just brought it up to bring it up. But Dan Hall is a good buddy of mine. Blackfoot Creek opened up for him this weekend. He said everything was great. Everybody was nice. Everybody was friendly. So
Yeah.
that's
Well, I
bad.
don't want to ruin that.
Right. But that's
Yeah.
bad. That's bad.
He's a fucking dick, but we opened up for him. He's
Right,
all
right. Well, you know, but that's badass. And I told him we ended up.
Loved it. Loved every second of that guy. I'm not saying that's how it is. Just a good possibility. If everyone says he's a dick and one guy says he isn't,
If it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck.
yeah, might suck like a duck. You know?
So anyway, we went to their. They ended up having an after party here in town. Tracy Lawrence wasn't there, but
Thank God.
Yeah.
right, and had a great time, you know, and everything. But they said everything went great, so yeah, that's great. But as soon as I heard he was coming to town, I couldn't help but think of. Are you familiar with Chris Knight at all? You listen to
I've
Chris
heard the
Knight's
name. I couldn't tell you a song.
I love those guys. That festival I was talking about that I was at, Chris Knight went on right before Tracy Lawrence, and I'm a huge Chris Knight fan. He's from Slaughters, Kentucky. He's a Kentucky guy, but he's been doing it since the early 90s and huge songwriter, huge singer-songwriter type guy. But and I'm a huge fan of him. Well, anyway, hanging out at this jam, one of the highlights for me was I got to hang out with this with his whole band up at this cabin, and me and his drummer in particular, we kind of hit it off, and that night was just conversating whatever. Well, anyway, about 2 months later, after this happened, Chris Knight was in on one of those package shows that the Beaver Dam Amphitheater was showing here close to. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not. They've been getting some really cool
they have
shows.
Been didn't John Prine
music.
come down?
Yes,
there?
man.
I wanted to catch that.
Tyler Childers,
we fucked some shit up at the John Prine show also.
Me and him showed up there lit.
He pulls up. Hey man, you want
That's
some
my
McDonald's
hometown.
keys?
That's my hometown. Yeah.
Jingling the keys in the back. You want a fucking burger?
Lit. Let me tell you this.
Take it
though,
out.
man.
No wait.
It was the only time I don't ever realize just playing music around the area or whatever. I'm just friends with everybody. But we were standing in line. The line to get into that John Prine, Tyler Childers show was so long. Like it was all the way out the park. And me and Jerry were standing there or whatever. And all the way up through there, all these people kept coming up to us. They're like, oh my God, man, I love y'all's music. And kept fixing us these drinks. By the time we got in this place,
Slammed.
we were lit. And we didn't bring any alcohol. These people were like tailgating alongside this path. That was going to
They
the
were,
show.
they were coming up to me and like, you know Josh Merritt? I was like, give me a fucking drink. Shut up.
Who?
Yeah.
And
And Jared's from Ohio
Who
County,
the
so
fuck is
I'm
Josh
from-
Merritt?
These are my childhood friends. I'm from Ohio County. They're like, we don't give a shit, but you know Josh Merritt.
But we got in this damn thing, man, and we was lit. Oh, and here, this was the trick. I totally forgot about this till now. We waited. I bought general admission tickets from a friend or something last minute to go to this show. I'm a huge John Prine fan, huge Tyler Childers fan. So as soon as I knew they were available, I had the night off. I was like, yeah, let's get them. Called Jared. He was available. I said, let's go. General admission tickets, which there's a hillside. And the general admission is like halfway up the hillside. That's general admission. Anything below that hillside is either VIP or what they call like a golden ticket or something like that. So anyway, we went half through this line. We're totally fine with the general admission. We just come to see the show and hang out with friends that are going to be there. Halfway through the line, halfway through all these drinks people are feeding us, I get a text from Andy Brasher. He's seen on Snapchat that we were there or something like that. And he said, hey, I've got some VIP tickets, like front row or whatever, two extras. If you, listen, here, and this is the way Andy said it because this is the way Andy is. He said, if you know anybody that wants to buy them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I texted him back. This is 10 minutes before the show's about to start. We're halfway through the line, and the show's about to start in 10 minutes. So I text Andy back, and I said, hey, bub, this show's starting in 10 minutes, and I know you're not going to sell these tickets in 10 minutes. I said, won't you just be real about this? And he didn't text me back for like 5 minutes.
He was like,
He had
give us some time.
He had to swallow that bill
He went and
first.
stood by the fucking ticket counter. It was like $10 less than they're charging right here. All right, man, you can have them.
Finally, he texts me back, and he's like, God damn it. He's like, all right, yeah, you can have them. I was like, well, it's me and Jared Green. We're in here, so that's perfect. So he met us at the ticket gate, and we got these VIP tickets or whatever. And my God, by the time we got in there, we was lit. We was fit to be tied. We was lit. And
We stood up the whole show, and at the fourth song, we were in the front row, so maybe there were 75 or 100, 150 people behind us. We were standing up, and people were pissed off because we were standing up blocking their view, just us two.
I remember
And they were like, sit down, and Merritt turned around and said, what would you say? You
I said, stand up.
if you're here to see John Prine, you ain't standing up, then fuck you or something. So I thought we almost had a riot on our hands. So we just kept standing. It was great. It was
I
great.
meant that. I was thinking.
John
look,
Prine,
we're-
John
we're-
Prine from my part. I'm from Pleasant Ridge, but Ohio County's larger than Bowling Green, and John Prine is a huge staple in Ohio County, but he's never played there. I'm 33. He's never played there. Still, first time and probably only time he's ever played there. So it was a big deal.
Entire
That's
county
crazy
to one
that-
city.
Yeah,
Our
true.
county's bigger than the city.
Damn right.
I would hope.
you damn right. You damn right.
The
Crazy thing is, we're still all neighbors. It's fucking wild.
Crazy thing is, the geography on each side of this table was overwhelming on the other, but
Right.
for real, it's huge. And we stood up the whole time, and people were. I couldn't believe that there were people like. you're 50 years old. If you're 50 years old in Ohio County, and most of the rumor is that John Prine lived in Greenville. He lived in Greenville, which is not true.
It's not
His
true.
Parents
His parents
lived there.
did, yeah.
So these people not standing up, we were pretty pissed anyway. They weren't that they
Show
weren't ramping
respect.
anymore. Yeah,
Right.
Pretty much what was said. It was like,
That's what I mean. We were front row, and I'm just, I live my life by the staple of I try to live by the golden rule. So honestly, when I go to people's shows, whether it's a friend or a big show or whatever, I try to live, and I honestly do. I honestly try to live my life by the staple of I want to act at this show the way that I want people to act at my show. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I
fuck
believe
yeah.
in karma. I believe in the universe is like that and stuff. So yeah, it's John fucking Prime standing. We're both standing on our feet. We're clapping. We're yelling. We're singing along. These people behind us, they're like, "Sit down. We can't see." Blah blah. And it run all fucking.
I'm
over me,
drunk
man.
and in tears trying to talk shit like.
Yes, I fucking love this guy. I said, yeah.
He's over there
Fuck
playing
you.
Sam Stone, and you're just like,
Are you crying, sir?
So I told him, I said, man, fuck y'all. I said, John Prine, stand up, man. Get into it a little bit.
Fucking David sitting over there with his wife Cheryl of 30 years. You're crying, drunk in the front row. Stand up!
Get your ass out of that wheelchair and fucking clap.
Oh,
Lord of mercy. But anyway, we had a good time, man.
This
It
is
was
a good
fun.
time out here.
I know. I told
For
you.
real.
I told him coming out. I said, these guys are wild, man. So
Oh,
you
we
gotta
have a good
watch it.
time.
Good
That's
time.
what it's
Good
about.
time. Yeah.
All right, we'll start with you first. If you could put any 3 guys in a concert, who would it be?
Oh wow!
I'm glad you're first, 'cause I wanna think
in the recent shows that I've saw, I would say well,
not
no,
recent,
living or past.
living. Yeah.
Okay,
Gotta be
because Tom Petty would be my
plausible.
one. I would say Johnny Lang.
Mm.
I would say even with all of his speed bumps, I'd say Johnny Lang, John Mayer, and
We all did. All right, never mind. Go ahead, Josh. You just leave it right there. It's fine.
it's all the John Prine, Johnny Lang, John Mayer. That's what I-
Mine would be, and it's,
Waiting on the world.
I don't have anything to say.
mine would be just off the top of my head. It would be Jason Isbell, Chris Stape, or Jason Isbell. Did you say 3?
3.
Oh. All right, Jason Isbell, Sturgill Simpson, and Tyler Childers.
Yeah, that's
That'd
good
be a
picks.
good one. I would put Chris Stape. If I had a 4th, I'd put Chris Stape.
Yeah, I think I'd go with Cody Johnson.
I like Cody Johnson.
Jason Isbell.
Yeah.
I want to see him so bad. His tickets are so expensive.
I've seen him 11 times.
Jesus Christ.
I'm a super fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just seen him
And,
at the Ryman, which is it's impossible to get tickets for anymore.
Yeah.
yeah, it's always sold out.
He does the 6-show deal at the Ryman now and sells every show out. But I didn't get tickets. A buddy of mine, Mike Johnson, who's he's similar level of fan of mine, got us Friday tickets for the Ryman shows at
Damn.
Jason Isbell. Yeah, it was badass.
Awesome. And probably Cody Jinks.
Cody Jinks.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Chase?
Oh man,
Could be any genre.
So
Doesn't have to be
okay,
country.
all right. Bands, not just a
Florida
sing-
Georgia Line.
No. Why you gotta hate?
Can we get some Luke Bryan in the house?
Probably, I would probably do Springsteen, Petty, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and Young.
I thought they had to be
Petty
living.
would've been
Oh,
Petty,
yeah.
Petty
They
would
had
have
to
been
be
one of
living.
mine,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we'll do Crosby, Stills, and Nash is still number 1.
Yeah.
We'll substitute Tom Petty with. I'm trying to think of somebody that's like. You know what?
Here's some John Mayer in here.
Audio Slave, man.
Did you say John Mayer?
Probably Audio Slave with
way,
Chris
high
Cornell,
five.
man.
He's dead.
Oh, fuck. God
He's
damn.
dead.
Everybody's dead.
He was alive last year.
No, he's not, he's
That's
not alive
crazy,
now.
though.
He's dead.
I don't see
Sorry to be
how
so
it's a
rough
valid
about it,
argument.
but
Yeah.
those are my
He was alive
favorite.
last year, goddammit.
Deader and shit now.
Yeah, no, he's
Fucking
dead.
doorknob dead.
Deader
That's a
shit
tough one.
now.
Sorry, but he is.
Tough and shit.
How dead is he? Deader and shit.
Deader and shit.
Yeah,
All
Deader
one
than
word.
the deadest
There's no
animal you've ever
spaces.
saw.
That's how you know you're from Ohio County. There's no spaces. It's deader and shit.
Deader and shit.
Slicker and shit. How you gonna wash? Put them in the washer.
Stick a fork in him, he's done. He's dead.
He's dead.
I don't know. I'm trying to think now that you put me on the spot because those are the ones that I would love
Reba
to.
is still alive.
Reba is
She
still
drinks
alive.
baby tears and shit. That's why.
Baby
The good ones die young.
I would love, give me shit for it if you want, but I'd love to see Tim McGraw live. I haven't seen him live.
Why would you give you shit for that? That's fake. Yeah, the guy's one of the
Some
greatest
people
of
are
all
just
times.
like, oh, Tim McGraw,
Well, no.
Greatest of all
pop
time.
country,
George
right.
Strait, love that fucking guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me say, Tim McGraw
Tracy
falls.
Lawrence.
Tracy,
I love the
Fucking princess.
meet and greet. I love the meet and greet.
It ruined it now.
right?
Yeah.
Totally ruined everybody's
Piss on his
childhood
boobs.
dreams. Tim McGraw's in the same category as like a Kenny Chesney for me because I was a huge Kenny Chesney fan back in the day, but both
Hurt my
of them,
feelings.
both of them have come up with garbage music in the past 8 years, in my opinion.
Well,
I'm sorry, that's just my opinion.
Humble and Kind,
not-
phenomenal song.
Right? Huh?
Humble and Kind, phenomenal.
Yeah,
song.
it was okay.
Here, see when you say
But
a
pioneers
Kenny
are
Chesney-
behind him. You know. it's-
Right.
They've been making
When you
good
say Kenny
music.
Chesney, I put Kenny Chesney in the same category as Keith Urban, where when their songs come on 8,000 times a day, I just want to collide head first with a fucking Mack truck.
I got you.
And that's the reason I listen to Pandora.
But I think, and here's the deal, I think that Kenny Chesney's been in that vein longer than he was in the cool vein that I'm talking about. And Tim
Yeah.
McGraw's opposite. I think Tim McGraw was in the cool vein longer than he was in this pop fucking vein. But what I mean by that, I'll explain. People forget that Kenny Chesney wrote songs like That's Why I'm Here. I don't know if you remember that. He wrote songs like Because Grandpa Told Me So.
Oh,
I don't know if you
man.
remember that.
I don't remember that one.
Look him up. You know what I'm
I
talking
haven't
about?
heard that since I was like. Oh,
People
man.
forget that he wrote those songs.
Yeah.
And
A lot of it
believe
is-
in because Grandpa told me so. Like these deep, deep fucking like straight. People forget that Kenny Chesney did those songs though. That's Why I'm Here. It's a ballad for alcoholics. It's got to be. It's about a guy going through rehab.
I've heard
first
that
time.
one.
And stuff. Yeah, that was his bit. That was his kind of his big breakthrough hit. But you know, people relate Kenny Chesney to the beach ball shit. That
Yeah,
he did
it's
after the
tropical
fact.
island music is what I
He
think.
did a lot of music. He did a lot of music before that time, though, and that's why I say that.
Keith Urban used to be awesome, and now I can't fucking stand him.
Exactly.
I seriously
same.
can't.
He's in the
kills me.
same line as these people. Tim McGraw, same way. Tim McGraw wrote fucking, or didn't write, but did Johnny's Daddy.
Yeah,
was
that's
te-
what I'm saying. That's
People
the
forget
number
that
one.
shit.
Yeah.
People forget
Yeah.
that Tim
Sad.
McGraw did
Huge
that
song.
shit,
My best
man.
friend.
You know,
I
yeah,
mean,
man.
I
I'm
proposed
not-
to my wife
Grown
with
men
that
don't
song.
cry.
I
No,
love that fucking
You
song.
proposed to your wife to that?
Yeah, my best friend.
No
Really?
shit,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
See,
I made like this whole video of like the first picture we ever took together, and then like through the years to like the most recent one.
right.
And like it had words like, and it was like a Christmas party. So I went in my bedroom, got the ring, and then I played it from my phone, like streamed it onto the TV in the living room. So everybody was watching. She had no idea. She was in the
Oh,
kitchen.
wow.
And so like
Yeah, no, he
everybody,
went
like
all
our
out.
entire family was in there watching it.
That's
and they're like,
badass.
Lizzie! Like freaking out. And she went in, and what's going on? And then she turned around and I was proposing to her.
Dude, prop. That's
Yeah,
fucking.
oh,
That's,
yeah.
that's badass.
It was
Yeah.
awesome. I love that song though.
Yeah.
My favorite
But anyway, people forget. Like I said, I hold all the. Keith Urban falls into that same pool that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Had like this great startup career, but I feel like whoever their agents or their managers or whoever.
That's who they signed with, man.
When the
They
new
just
when the
sing
new
whatever.
when the new wave came in, they said, if you're going to be relevant, you have to do this kind of
Yeah.
music, and they put these songs in front of them and said, if you don't want to fall off the map, if you want to keep being superstar these are the songs that you have to do. And they were
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to fall off the map, so I'm
Yeah.
going to do them. But and I don't blame them for that. I think the music they made after that fact was garbage, and didn't not only did it not stand in the new age. I don't feel like it kept up with these new kids that were coming out making that kind of music, because it was like these old guys trying to make this new music,
Trying to be hip, yeah.
right? Which didn't work.
Right.
So not only do I feel like it did that, but it didn't represent what they did at all. You know what I mean? So it was like this big fallout thing. And I say that, and some of these songs still went number one just because of who they were. But I feel like if you went back and reviewed and actually asked people what they think of them,
Yeah.
It happens with a lot of like really famous bands and,
For sure.
and singers. They build their career off some of these like super deep, intense songs that like pull people to them, and then they get a really good deal, and then they kind of have to abide by some kind of guidelines that bump them out of those kind of songs. And
Well, and you get more and more busy. You're playing show after show after show on the road. You
so
can't
it's
really
more
ride
about
anymore.
promoting and pushing your music than it is actually creating your music.
And not that I wouldn't take away from any of my three, but I think I could not consciously be asked that question and not include my just underwater guitar player. I always include my guitar players in my mind as my three on stage, even though they may not be the best songwriters. But from my view, as a guitar player, I always choose the people who I've saw live and are just we saw Johnny Lang a month ago play an hour and a half.
Freaked me out how
30-degree
good he was,
weather.
dude.
His keys player was warming up his hands. His drummer, everybody was trying to stay warm. And Johnny Lang in Madisonville, 30-degree weather. I played
Another
in 30-degree
Madisonville
weather. It's
show.
impossible to play guitar for an hour and a half.
Fingers, holy
Unbelievable.
You
Yeah,
guys
it's
familiar
like
with Johnny Lang at all?
I'm not.
oh, he's
Okay.
unbelievable.
Johnny Lang was huge in the mid 90s. He was this young kid in the mid 90s. He was like 15, 16 and came out with these sick fucking songs. His big one was Lie to Me. Came out in probably 95.
I was in the 8th grade.
96.
He was 16. He was 16.
Well,
I was in the 8th grade.
So what year would that have been? I might be.
I'm 33. You do the math.
I don't remember. Anyway, I think I'm. It didn't pass 95. It was probably early 2000s. then,
It
would you
came
say?
out.
I graduated high school in 2003. So when I was in the 8th grade, it would have been It was been.
97.
Yeah, 97.
Is when Lie to Me
So I
came
was
out.
close.
Nice.
God, you're
nice. Nice. I know.
Hey, check it out. I was born in '96. September of '96.
So anyway, "Lie to Me" by Johnny Lang was this huge hit, and he was only like 15 or 16 when that came out. So I respected him from that aspect. And when me and him first started playing music together, he was covering some Johnny Lang, and that's the only way I knew it from was him covering it. And of course, I'd looked it up and had it on a couple playlists or whatever, but I'd never actually just jammed some Johnny Lang. And then he was coming to Madisonville, and I had the night off, and a
You
couple
told
of us
me
got,
about it. Yeah.
a couple of us got together and said, "Hey, let's just go check out the show. We're not doing nothing." And it was honestly one of the best shows I've seen in the last
Free
probably-
show. A free
Free
show.
show
In
among-
Madisonville.
Oh,
yeah.
By the way, all these Madisonville shows I'm talking about, the Corey Smith one we did, all that free to the public, man.
That's awesome.
yeah,
Where is
so-
it at in Madisonville?
It's at the Madisonville Park.
Madisonville Park.
They got a huge park down there, and they're doing the, like I said, it's their, and the manager even told me this. I don't know if I should say this, but she said it's their comeback to the Friday After 5 of Owensboro
Yeah,
because
you got to keep up.
they
you
do,
know?
yeah. And but instead of getting, Owensboro, they try to concentrate on local talent, but honestly, they get these cover bands and stuff from out of town, from Louisville and Nashville and stuff, and it's these cover like Jimmy Buffett bands and shit. So instead of doing that, they've actually got these halfway relevant artists,
Yeah.
and paid them and
That's badass.
had these badass shows.
I'd rather my tax dollars go to that
Me too. Yeah,
than
me
$1 million
too. Right.
fucking tree. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly, man. That's me too, brother.
My
So.
cigarettes are out there.
Are they? Yeah. I'm gonna take a
dog
quick
one,
break.
yeah.
I'm gonna
I
let
think
y'all
it's a-
jam
it's
with
a
him.
badass dog.
Which one was it?
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell you
Oh,
what,
I'm
man.
gonna let you conversate. I'm gonna hit one.
Oh, yeah.
Or you?
No, they're in my jacket.
Okay, right on.
On the
right
chair,
Yeah. I'll be right back.
It's been pretty quiet tonight, but then again, it is later than we do normally. Most
Yeah, it's 9
podcasts.
o'clock
I
on
mean,
a fucking
there's been a lot of
Tuesday.
people tuning in that don't normally tune in. Got a few people that jumped in and liked the show.
You been replying to comments and shit?
There's only been one comment so far, which is actually. It's not surprising. It's late. It's a Wednesday. Most people are going to bed.
Tuesday.
Yeah, most of the time we have these about 6 p.m. You know, which is ideal. People are getting off of work. They just
Yeah.
finished dinner. They sit down. They get on their phones. Everybody hops on. And that's when we reach our biggest audience. But
We've noticed though after, like we'll record it tonight live, of course, like we're still live right now, and within the next day or two, it'll like double or even triple in views.
Yeah.
So, but I
well,
love
most
doing
people
them
just
live.
don't have. They'll
Yeah.
see it and they're like, "Oh, I want to watch that," and then they'll come back to it later. So,
Because it's hard to watch a 2-hour show
yeah,
in one setting.
You sit down and you start listening. You're like, oh, it's cool. And you may listen for 5-10 minutes. If it's something really interesting, maybe 20-30 minutes. But you might want to go back and listen to it as a podcast, download it as a podcast, and then listen to it whenever you get the chance to. So
Yeah, I'm excited to turn. There's a lot of people who are, since Merritt has, and like you said, you guys and Merritt well, in the past month, are the only people I know that do these podcasts. But I'm excited to turn a lot of people on to you guys because I think this is a great,
Man,
this is a great recipe.
fun, man.
It really is.
We've been
It
doing
really
this
is.
over a year now, and we used to be. It was really nice when we had it on like a set schedule where we did it like almost every like Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
It seemed like, but you know, obviously things change. You can't always keep
Like, a
that
new job
intensity.
was the big one,
that was
man.
the big thing, was him having a different job, and then you know we could only set him up once or twice. You know, once a week, maybe once every other week. But we're always trying to get new people in here, and even the same people more than once, because that's when some of the best conversations happen, when you kind of know a little bit about the person, so you can kind of probe them a little
Yeah.
bit
Oh,
and get a
yeah.
little bit out of them. Because the first few times, you know, you talk to somebody, you don't really know what the response is going to be on something, so you may be hesitant to ask it. So I mean, Jacob will ask literally anything at any
I don't give a
time,
fuck.
anywhere to anybody. So
But
that's why he's the
why-
best person to have.
I think
on that side
I
of the
think that's
table.
what will make your podcast.
Man,
real.
that's why I always encourage people to drink when they come
Yeah.
on, because, dude,
Yeah.
I would say 90% of the people who back out of coming on the podcast, like, usually it'll be an hour before the podcast is supposed to start, and they'll make some fucking generic lame ass excuse, and it's 100% because of nerves.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be live. What if I say something wrong? Like, you're not gonna say anything wrong, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. Even if you do say something wrong, like 20 people are gonna see it. Who
Yeah.
cares?
How many performers have you all had on your podcast? Like, as far as performers that regularly perform out,
Like
play music or any performer.
musically, Josh is just about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've had some issues with performers that will
Musicians in particular are particularly flaky.
Yeah.
Josh
Well, the
has
reason
been
I asked
very
is because I would,
Dixie,
I
don't
would-
even think about it.
I would think that that would kind of maybe,
be the opposite.
well, yeah, it'd be the
Because
opposite
they
because
have
they're
to.
used
They have to show up
it,
for
yeah.
shows. But no, that's what we thought too. But you know,
Yeah, it's great.
and it's only it's only been a handful of people. But for the most part, people have been pretty open to coming on the show and talking and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing is the nerves, because you realize that you're talking into something that's live, being broadcast to the internet. And people are very hesitant to talk. And even when we do get people on here, they will start talking, and then they realize they're like, "Oh, I'm talking into a microphone," and then you can see
They'll
it.
freeze
I can
up.
see it the
You'll
most
see the,
because
like, deer in
I'm
headlights.
because
You
I'm
can see
watching
it.
I'm watching the feed
Yeah.
and I'm watching them in real life, and I can just tell when they're just like they're like looking and thinking. They sink
Withdrawal,
down.
yeah.
They shrink their shoulders in, and
Yeah.
they just kind of like back away from the microphone.
You know what I think it is, Chase?
What?
I've been thinking about it. Because we'll sit in here for probably 10, 15 minutes while he's doing his computer shit, and we'll talk just like this, microphones in front of us, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he says, all right, we're live, we'll put on our headsets. I think it's the headsets.
Yeah.
That and you announce when we're live. Just
Yeah.
fucking go live. Fuck it.
I had the only reason why I do that is just because I record the audio separate from the video,
Mm-hmm.
so that I don't have to like search. It's just easier for me because
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
exactly where it's at. But it's not like
Just whisper it. Going live.
well, and sometimes we have stuff going on. Like we got that giveaway going on right now, which we haven't even really talked about at all about the Christmas ham and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I
posted
saw
it
that. Well, I saw
yesterday.
you all mention that in the post. I was checking out your page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and share that, man. I mean, we're gonna give away free Christmas ham or turkey
Or
whichever,
turkey. Yeah,
whichever,
it's for
Kentucky.
either. From-
Yeah, whichever one you want. Obviously, that's not going to hurt you to share the post, like it, and leave a comment. And
Candace Rice is going fucking hard in the
she
comments.
is.
I
We
love it.
got a few more. We got a few
Yeah.
more people coming on during the show, so that's good
Hell
too.
yeah.
We're trying.
Dude, we
We
got a
try
lot
to
of
do
people doing
more.
it.
Yeah, we try to do more giveaways and stuff like that because obviously we know that people don't want to always tune in and stuff like that, but we want to be able to give back too in other ways other than just talking and being entertaining and everything.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since we've done a giveaway just because it does become taxing, and it's like we got to kind of know what people want, and it's just sometimes we have opportunities to give back and sometimes we don't. So
We don't want people tuning in just for the giveaways either.
yeah,
Yeah.
because then it's just like, what's the point of even doing it
Yeah.
if they're just tuning in to get a turkey
Gimme,
or
gimme.
to get,
Well, we
get a
figured,
gift card?
fuck it. I mean, holidays are coming up.
When we
got
come upon the
Thanksgiving and
opportunity,
Christmas,
yeah,
so.
this is the best time to give away something like that. So if you're interested and share the post, comment on it, and like our page and follow, and you could win. I mean, there's not a ton of people in there, so the pickings are slim. So
Yeah.
you could end up winning something that's gonna save you some money for the holidays.
I think this is a great thing, man. I think not
cool,
just,
isn't
not
it?
just how you
Yeah.
all execute it, but the room and everything. It's chill atmosphere, and the people who you say who do get nervous and flake out. That's a bold statement because
what's
I
crazy?
think it's great, brother. I think it's a great
Every
atmosphere.
person that bears through it, gets over it, comes on,
loves.
always loves it. every single time. That's what. And the reason I say that it's because of nerves is because after we get done, as soon as we shut it off, they're like, dude, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
I almost didn't
Every-
come on because I was nervous,
every
but
time.
dude, that was so much fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta have me back on. Like 100%, dude.
Hell
100%. Come back on.
This is
Yeah, I love
awesome.
it.
It is fun because how many times do you, like we were talking about this before the podcast, how many times do you actually sit down and like talk to somebody and actually just talk to them, not doing 10 other things, not texting them, not calling them, not, FaceTiming them or whatever, but actually talking to them, and you kind of have to, you put the headphones on and the microphone and then you're like, all right, it's just me and these other people, so.
Yeah,
Josh Merritt's pick from last time.
Oh, yeah.
I bet it smells. It's kind of a dying art. I mean, before podcasts or whatever, but you get more into social media and whatnot. Sitting down with somebody having a conversation is a dying art.
Yeah,
It is.
People
It
just
is.
100%.
aren't willing to conversate as much because it makes people feel vulnerable, and I think that's one of the reasons why people bail out so much is they feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't want to. What if people don't like me? What if
Yeah, I
nobody
gotta go.
watches it? Yeah, and it's just like, who cares?
I've noticed, I don't know if, because I've got a pretty outgoing personality, so I don't know if that's kind of overbearing sometimes, but I've had people on specifically because we don't agree on many things. And I love having a conversation with those people because I would love to change my mind. I would love to change their mind. However it goes, I just want to explore what they think about it and what I think about it and see, kind of debate the subject in a civil manner, not get upset, not fucking get mad. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when they'll come on, then it's suddenly they agree with everything I say. It's like, I know
And
you
nobody
don't.
wants that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants somebody
Yeah.
that says yes to everything.
Right. I'm like, man, come on. I know you don't agree with that.
And
Like,
that's why you're in the chair. You are because you guys make a great team. And I really believe that's a dying art too. People who will push it, push it on podcasts or whatever, interviews, whatever. People who will push, like you said, learn where people are vulnerable. You have them on, have them back again. Learn how to poke the bear.
Yeah.
In a way that gets.
It's not anything to be antagonizing. It's just we
At all,
want to
no.
know what people think, and we've had veterans in here, we've had mixed martial artists in here, we've had musicians in here, we've had just regular fucking dudes in here that don't do anything besides sit at home and play video games. We've had literally, Josh Merritt, the second time he's been in here, and he's just a guy that literally you can put a microphone in front of him, he talks.
Yeah, he talks a lot, yeah.
And you've been in here, and
never shuts the fuck up.
and look, he even starts his own podcast. So to me, it's awesome that he says, hey, you're kind of an inspiration for me to start that. Awesome, because for me, I do a lot of the producing. I put make sure everything gets on the internet, make sure everybody can hear it, make sure everybody can see it, and like the positive feedback is what keeps us going.
Yeah.
And we get positive feedback from everybody. Whenever we don't put out a show for like 2 or 3 weeks, people are like, "What's going on with the podcast?"
He's in here.
Oh yeah. So,
All right, drop that topic.
Oh.
Not like we're live.
so but yeah, he's out there on his phone like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Talking
shit, you-
shit for
Yeah.
the last 15
He's like
minutes.
on fire.
Josh, I just realized we still have your pick in here from last time.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
badass. Yes, man. That's really
I told him I could smell it from over
Did
here.
you leave that here on purpose or was it an accident?
It was a total accident.
Was
yeah,
it?
'cause
It was funny because Chase
Yeah,
called
we-
it. He
we
said,
got hard up.
Chase said, he's gonna leave his pick here. He's a musician. That's what they do. I was
We
like,
do,
I was
yeah.
like, I don't
just
think so.
happens.
And then
It just
and then you
happens.
left,
It's
and I was
funny.
like, holy shit, his pick's right there.
It's funny you called it, man.
I messaged you. I was like, hey man, your pick's here. Do you want this back? He said, nah, just keep it.
just
And
one
he
of
just
those
started
things.
laughing.
Dude, I go through so many picks. It's crazy. I buy and I use same as most musicians. Well, some do, some don't. But I use a specific pick, and I'm used to that pick, and I'm comfortable with it. And me and Jared actually use the same pick, which is fortunate. But I buy these huge packs. You get these. I use Dunlop Tortex picks, the medium grade, and you can get them. Usually picks are sold like 5 or 6 at a time or something. But you can go online. I found a site where you can buy like 75 at a time or something like that. And it's super cheap to buy them that way. But I go through them like a month, and those are gone or whatever.
How much are they for 75?
There they are, right there. $15 for 75 of them.
I wonder.
But they last. They don't break or whatever. But here's the deal.
I throw him like a son of a bitch out of
Jared
reflex.
plays with me every week.
I throw him,
At
and
Wednesday.
I've gotten pretty goddamn good at it.
Here's the deal. If it's
Bullseye.
I have.
seriously.
I really have. No, y'all keep that one.
Listen,
I have.
seriously.
I've gotten really good.
seriously,
Add it to the collection.
seriously, if it's live, if it's live on stage or whatever, especially with me and Jared, we've been playing so long, man. That there's this feng shui between us, and we'll play a song we've played 1,000 times, but for whatever reason that night we smoothed into it. He hit all the licks and the spots they were supposed to. And the biggest thing is if we end it right. I found that if me and him end on the same, like, which doesn't.
All improv. It's all improv, of course. We never rehearse.
We never practice. We never do it between us, So when we do it, it's like it's what we call a live moment. And when it's live, Jerry gets so excited, and if he has 6 picks that night or 8 picks that night, he launches them. That's how you know that Jared's in the.
I'm like, Merritt, give me another goddamn pick. That's
and then of course, yes. So anyway, these 70 they don't last long, and for whatever reason,
somebody's fucking throwing them every night.
So
just give him dollars to throw instead.
So right. So anyway, I'm usually really good about keeping my picks up because I'm very kind of particular about what picks I play with. I'm comfortable in those kind of picks, and for whatever reason, the last month I got lazy and didn't order any. So like the past 3 gigs me and him have done together, I didn't have any. Literally set everything up, got everything going. It was like 10 minutes till showtime, and I realized like I don't have any picks, which is a bigger deal than it sounds.
Yeah.
But it's like, so
that's that pick. I've kept up with that pick for 2 weeks now.
It's literally like we played at the Poorhouse last Friday, and I was like, Jared, you got any picks? He's like, what? No. And I was like, me neither.
Wait, you don't have any?
So I was literally out in my truck where all the shit lands at the end of the night, scrounging, lifting seats up and shit, looking for picks and stuff. But just goes to show you don't think the littlest things like that matter. But picks,
I wonder how cost effective it would be if you just got a 3D printer.
Oh God, it's so much. Yeah. It'd be
It'd
great.
pay itself off eventually.
I'd be printing all kinds of shit though.
Well, a friend of mine, Stacy, she got me for Christmas last year. She got me one of the punches where you can just take, because a lot of musicians will just take old credit cards or gift cards, and it's a punch.
Oh, okay.
It's a punch that actually punches out these cards. But I'm so familiar to those picks. They're grounded just right.
Really,
and it's just, unless you played, you wouldn't know. They're just the perfect weight. They play so great. So I tried those for a while because I thought the same thing. I thought, well, this would be more efficient, and I ended up, I haven't used that thing since. I don't think. I've been just buying those.
So I'm completely ignorant to playing guitar.
Yeah.
So why would you not just use your fingers? Is it a different sound?
It's a different sound. Yeah.
I do. I guess.
I do some stuff. Some stuff depending on the song. There's some songs that I'll finger pick too, and do that too. But and it depends on how you come up. There's some people that learn to play guitar playing with their fingers, and that's the only way that they can play. And for me, I've always played with the pick, so it's just more comfortable. It's the way that I've built my muscle memory around, I guess, is using the pick. So
I see. You ever just put your picks in like the guitar strings where you like weave it in there or whatever?
Yeah,
Keep track of it that way.
It helps.
So
But
then I grab them and I throw them, sons of bitches, out in the crowd.
I'm so bad, man.
Everybody's
I'm
getting
telling
hit in
you.
the face like, God, we wish he'd fucking quit.
Brother, that's happened. And then after I hit him in the eyeball, I have to say, can I get that back? It's my last pick.
We've landed.
Off of it? Fuck.
Me and him in particular have played restaurants before, and it's not a contemplated thing where you throw them. It's just like, whoa, that was bad, bam,
yeah, it's a good
and
deal.
landed in somebody's nachos before. Like, swear to God, like that's a real thing.
And I love it though. I love that the fact that I had all this pent up after a song goes so great. And I will say with Josh Merritt, I've played with bands, and me and him we have this
Chemistry.
It's a chemistry. That's what it is. Yeah.
When a song ends, and I will say, oh God, I hope it keeps going. 99.9% of the songs that we do, then we do it at open mics, so I go play lead for him. They'll end, and we'll get that groove, and I get excited, and I'll throw that pick. But before, I didn't have that to do, so I had to like throw a guitar, or I had to like
punch somebody in the
face.
Stool.
It's a lot more cost
Steel
efficient.
keys.
It
It all
McDonald's
depends.
keys.
It all depends.
Keys, yeah. Oh, it's great.
That's good shit.
I'll say though, man, like I said, me and Jared, we played in a band for a long time, and then that ran its course or whatever. And then Jared has had several badass bands since. I've had a couple bands since. Jared played for the Andy Brasher band most recently. I've had a band, but during that time, me and Jared have always, for one, been pretty good friends, and have always played music together and all that stuff during that time. And I'll say, when we say that there's a chemistry, it's it's this thing. I've played with a lot of badass lead guitar players, and Jared's played with a lot of badass lead guitar players, a lot of badass singers, a lot of badass rhythm guitar players. But wherever our pars are with that, there's just a chemistry between us where I feel like it lands. You know, I'm not the best rhythm guitar player or singer sometimes, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, I'd probably rather have Jared Green beside me than anybody else. I feel like, and that comes with just years of playing together. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so.
It's very sweet.
Just knowing each other. Well, thank you. Will you marry me,
You ever
Jared?
thought about dating?
I'm fucking pumped up now, man.
You didn't bring your guitar this time.
I didn't, man. It's because
No, we
the quickness, man.
purposely because you all have to have us back for a second time so we can play.
Hey man, you killed it. You did play in the end on Aaron, and you fucking killed it.
Dude,
Thank you, man. Yeah.
So many times I have gone back to that episode to show people your performance.
Thank you so much,
Especially
man.
Sleeping in Your Dress Blues.
Yeah,
Dude,
man.
Song gives me fucking chills.
I forgot.
Every
Honestly,
time.
I forgot about playing that on
Yeah.
here, man. That was That's a good song. Well, Dress Blues, man. That's such a powerful song.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Gives you chills, man.
It does. It breaks
Yeah.
my heart. It gives me chills.
It's so crazy that we're one of the only animals that respond that way to music. You know?
Right. Right.
So it's
Yeah.
weird.
But everybody knows music like an inherent level. You know, if you know somebody that doesn't like music, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Everybody responds to some kind of music. Everybody's got
What's
their
even
own.
crazier is how subjective it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like some people can't fucking stand country music.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people can't stand rap music.
Right.
You know, like I listen to just about whatever. I don't
Well,
give two shits.
And,
really.
and with that, I feel like it's like anything. I feel like and this is gonna. Maybe I shouldn't get this deep. I'm a deep person. I read this thing not too long ago that talked about how that humans at the root of ourselves, but before technology, before all that, most humans always they always kept themselves around no more than about 130 people. Whatever tribe you were with, whatever group you were with, back in the day,
Small
before
communities.
these
Hunter gathered
Yeah.
communities.
yeah, exactly. Before humans absolutely took over the earth, which they have now, around 100 people. There were around 100 people in communities and stuff. And I started reading this study because it's interesting to me. I have this big thing. I like to remember everybody that I meet. I meet a lot of people, and I hope this doesn't sound fucking
probably going
douchebaggish.
to.
It's probably going to. Like pretentious or douchebaggish, but
All right,
I had
Tracy,
this big
chill
thing.
out.
All right, Tracy, get the fuck down. But no, seriously, I like that when I meet some wherever it's at, if it's on the fucking street or especially if it's somebody that's like, it's fucking digging whatever the fuck, and I'm playing a box with strings on it. You know what I mean? And they're like, that fucking means something to me. I want to remember you, man. Like whether it's 2 years later or 3 years later, I want to remember. And I'm not always good at that, so I had this. I had this way that I go about remembering people or whatever. Anyway, I read this study not too long ago that talked about how most of the time, still yet because of our culture as humans, most people only remember directly about 130 people is all that your subconscious can remember.
Makes about
like the name, like you can remember their family and stuff like that.
Before you start
Face,
deleting
name.
contacts.
And you don't think about that, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But yeah, you do. You start deleting content. But it's usually 130 people, and that's the thing. I've got buddies that they have a system where they can remember people and stuff like that. But with me, I'm always worried. I get to that threshold or whatever, and I'll meet people that I see at shows every week or whatever, and I'm like, God damn, why can't I remember their fucking name every week? You know what I'm saying? And it was funny when I watched when I read this article that it talked about that. You know what I'm saying? That even though that we don't stay in packs of that little no more.
Yeah.
That's usually all our brains can comprehend as people is about 130 people that you can remember their entire fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's interesting to me anyway.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I forget
man.
I forgot what started that. I
think
had a
it's,
point to make.
Dunbar's number that's the
Dunbar's
sign-
number. Okay.
Dunbar's number is a suggested cognitive limit of number of people whom one can maintain stable relationships.
That's
with.
badass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's about 150.
150. Okay.
So you're pretty damn close for that. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Dunbar's number. I was like, man, what is that? I was trying to think of it too.
Well, I knew there was a name for it too.
Yeah, Dunbar's number.
So
So
there was somebody who was relating that same concept to the reason why mass shootings have gone up in the past, 50 years. Not even that many, probably
Oh,
30.
yeah, not even that late.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
since Columbine, that was
Yeah.
Right.
90s, late
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Early 90s, yeah.
So it's just because the communities have gotten so big that you don't have personal interactions with anyone
Right.
Social media.
So you're kind of you're disassociated with your peers.
Right.
Whereas now instead of seeing, oh, this is Josh, and this is all these people, I know their names, I know their families, I would never want to hurt you, I know who everybody, that chain of people that would affect. Now it's like, oh, you're just another fucking douchebag. Yeah.
Right.
So and they correlated that same thing, and it stands to me, it makes a lot of sense.
It does
Right.
make a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Especially with how much fucking mental issues are on the rise,
Absolutely.
how much over medications on the rise.
Absolutely, dude. That has a lot to do with it too. But I even know like my dad. My dad to this day, like I always say that my dad knows so many people and he always remembers those people. But when I really break it down, it's usually that 150 people or or whatever that.
Most of our memories are made up of those 150 people.
It
growing
is,
up,
yeah. It is.
Who we touch base with and go back to and stories and blah blah.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I would like to know, and it'd be cool to see a study done on people that are associated, like even bigger musician or movie stars or whatever that are associated with so many people, of how they respond to that, or you know what I'm saying?
They
Or
go fucking crazy.
That's
You see
exactly
Miley Cyrus,
You're
like
right. That's
Britney
it.
Spears,
That's it.
Justin Bieber,
You're right. That's it.
especially adolescents that get that.
I
kind
think
of
I
thing.
think it may be the same thing you're talking about. They start to disassociate. They're like,
yeah,
these are
I
just
think
the
so.
mobs of people that don't
Well,
think about
and
me the
it's
way these
so
150
much
will.
input is the
Right.
thing. You're such a fucking child. Like, I'm still a child,
Right.
And for somebody even younger than me to experience millions of dollars.
Like Justin Bieber back in the day.
I mean, he started like what, 13,
yeah,
14,
and you
when
saw
he got
him start to
signed?
spiral and
Drew
at points.
Barrymore at 11
Now he looks like a
months.
fucking
11
70s porn
months,
star.
Drew Barrymore started working at 11 months. And
Fuck.
Yeah,
Wow.
Jesus.
she's on on Netflix.
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan. The new Norm Macdonald show, Drew Barrymore's on there. And she said she started working 11 months. And her mom would take her to Studio 54 when she was like 8 years old. She said, "You want to go to school? You want to go to Studio 54?" And she's like,
That's a
"Fuck
piece
that.
of shit,
I didn't
Mom."
know older people or younger people. I knew adults." She's like, "I didn't have a grandmother or grandfather.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody younger, so I just knew adults. I didn't want to go hang around these fucking evil, mean ass kids at school. I wanted to go to Club 54.
Right.
She's like, but it worked out for me because I got hold of my whole cocaine, my midlife crisis, everything by like 12 years old."
There you go.
That's what she said.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Isn't that
It
crazy?
is.
I
right?
think that's awful parenting.
It is. It's
Yeah.
awful.
I think it's
You are
fucking
exactly
awful.
right.
Because the mom was not doing that out of what's good for her
She
child.
said she didn't have a mom.
She was
She
trying to
had
go
a
to
best
club.
friend.
She
is
was
what
fucking
said.
chasing a check,
Yeah.
is what she
Yeah.
was doing.
And with the whole Club 54 thing, it's she was trying to go to the club, had her
Yeah.
kid with her,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
let's go to
Yeah.
the club because
Yeah.
you're my star daughter. They're not gonna not
It's
let
outrageous.
you in.
Yeah.
Oh, who's that other guy? Child actor who's in Home Alone.
Oh,
That guy's
Culkin.
fucking nuts.
Macaulay
Macaulay
Culkin.
Culkin,
Yeah.
He's gotten his stuff back together, but yeah, he's
Little
spiraled
bit.
out for a
Let's
while.
not say it's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was on. I hadn't heard of that him, but he was on Joe Rogan's podcast not too long ago.
Yeah, it was.
and that's one to check out because
He's still pretty far out.
He's very
Yeah.
very far out there.
Yeah.
But
The two Corys, Corey Feldman and Corey whatever. The
Oh.
other Corey.
God, what did they do? They did freaking.
Well, they were both openly they were molested like at the same time and at age 14 in Hollywood. He said they were like vultures around him. It's the same you would see managers and whatever. They were the same. They would see managers or whatever would help you when you were 14 in the Hollywood scene. That they were both molested. They both molested it, but they're ate up with it now. Now it's,
Right.
By the age of 18, they were both. You can't come back from that, basically.
right, well, there's no way.
You can't come back.
Well,
Well,
it would fuck you up for life. Not only in like how you see the world, you can't trust people anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been shown that like sexual kinks come from what happened in adolescence.
For
Whether
sure.
it was like visual stimulation or something that actually happened to you and you just don't remember it.
Right.
That's where like a lot of the sexual kinks come from. Especially in young men.
I can see
Young women,
that.
it's not nearly as much.
Yeah.
But like choking and like BDSM type shit is all stemmed from like getting beat as a child and shit like that. Isn't that crazy?
No
it
shit.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense,
Especially
for sure.
from the generations, ours, mine, yours,
Right.
our generations, which are completely different from our fathers and grandfathers.
Right.
It really is from what we grew up with. It makes sense. It does.
Well, think of the big one. What about Michael Jackson? Nobody. That's a huge one. That's
Yeah.
his.
Still love it.
His
Still
dad
eating
was
the pop,
insane.
Yeah,
He
his
was,
his
man.
entire person, his entire life was stemmed from how he
Yeah.
came up, and the fact not only the fact that he came up so rough with his dad
Mm-hmm.
from the time he did make it, and they were wherever they were, but then also. I think the Jackson 5 took off when he was like 6 or 7. So
Oh yeah,
he's
super
so
young.
young.
Yeah, under 10.
So
Under
yeah,
10.
6 or 7, and then they were huge all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he'd literally been the biggest thing ever. The time he was probably 6 or 7, till he died. He was
Yeah.
the king.
And the
of pop.
skin discoloration that he went through was actually given by his dad. It was actually an oral pill that his dad gave him. If you look it up, that
Really?
bleached his skin, and that he understood that. He understood that to a certain extent that that's what was going to happen to him, and he was open about it right before he died. When he was coming out with Sony, he was coming out against Sony, saying they have accused me as a child molester. They've accused me as this, and I'm standing up against them 3-4 years before he died. And he was open about that his dad had gave him regiments of this, and it's a well-known thing. It's a thing that other
Yeah.
people have went through to bleach the
Really?
skin that his dad had put him through. Yeah.
Who's
Oh,
that
shit, I didn't know
baseball
that.
player that's fucking pink now? He's a
Darryl
retired.
Barry
Darryl
Bonds.
Strawberry?
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Barry
That's who it
Bonds.
is. He's like
He-
fucking pink now. Like
Yeah.
there's a picture of him in a pink suit, and he fucking matches it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, trying
he
to be
took,
white.
He took that kind of treatment too, and
It's
he took a bunch of
insane.
steroids and stuff like that for baseball, and allegedly,
Mm.
and but yeah, he went through that same treatment as him, and it just like
I almost want to say that I
Ooh.
can't understand that mentality, but then again, like it is super common for white people to tan. You
Well,
know,
it
it's
is,
the
but-
same.
yeah,
It's the same.
right.
We all want to look different for some
It
reason.
is,
Isn't
but
that
like
wild?
you said earlier, to make millions of dollars at that age, really
In that time period,
in the
too.
in the Hollywood suite, in the Hollywood
Yeah.
circle, we couldn't fathom living in that. And the money and
No.
the friends that you make,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
couldn't fathom living in that world. It's such a different world, and
yeah.
that's why kind of the mainstream music has always kind of made me sick, because I've partnered that with that.
For sure.
Like, I want to play in the underground.
Well, just
Right.
what happened with who was it? Kesha,
No, not Ariana Grande. It was
Lady Gaga.
no.
It was
no.
one of those.
Someone. Are you talking about
Kesha
the one who
had
just
some-
overdosed?
I think it was Kesha.
It might have been Kesha, maybe right.
Depends on
the one that had
molested-
the-
was
spot you're talking about.
abused.
Yeah, by
Kesha-
her manager
yeah,
or
that was
somebody, and
Kesha.
he would
Producer.
not release her.
Her
Yeah, producer,
producer.
and he would not release her out of her contract or nothing.
She
So
had a
just
contract for-
dropped off the fucking map for like
Yeah.
5
She
years.
had a contract for 5, and here's the deal with that. This is a sketchy thing. She had a contract with him for 5 albums. That said that she had to do these 5 albums, and the contract was listed either she had to do these 5 albums or there was a time period like 8
Yeah.
years or something like that. So anyway, this man not only sexually abused her. Was very inappropriate with her or whatever, to the fact that she said that she wanted, she couldn't do this, sued him.
Yeah,
Which is very common in the Hollywood circle.
Absolutely it is.
yeah.
But,
I mean, like Harvey Weinstein,
oh, dude, yeah.
Bill Cosby.
But with her in particular, it's so crazy because not only did they don't have enough proof to convict him over these sexual assaults, or I forget what the final verdict was on that. Whatever it was, even if he was found guilty, the contract still stood, which is
Yeah.
insane to me.
There's no way for her to get out of it.
There was no way for her to get out of it. So I think what it was is she won some type of dispute on the, and you guys can look this up, I don't know, but I think she won some type of dispute on the sexual assault side of it. But even though she proved this guy was being sexually inappropriate, she still had to wait 8 years, and
Yeah.
she was at the top of her fucking game.
Top of her game.
Was
dude.
obviously going to ruin her career. Had to
Yeah.
wait 8 years before she could release anything. I couldn't
Yeah.
even put a mixtape out. You know what I'm saying? Without him being a part
Yeah.
of it. So
She was a major player too.
Yeah, it took
Dude.
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Jesus,
It was like
man.
her, Katy Perry back in the day.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande really hadn't hit the map yet.
Right.
Cardi B definitely wasn't out.
No,
So I mean, it was just a very select few
right.
female artists, man.
Well, she was big. I mean, she came onto the scene and was huge, man. She
Yeah.
was the first. She was doing kind of the hip hop thing, and she was the first kind of white girl doing the.
Yeah.
2005
yeah.
when she signed with that Dr. Luke guy.
I got you.
Yeah, so she was with him for a while, and then apparently shit just was not good throughout the entire experience.
Well,
It's
it's
sort of like the whole Easy E thing. Easy E, if you contract HIV, in the 80s when Easy
Back
E
then, it's a
had
death
contracted
sentence,
it,
yeah.
you'll live with HIV for at the minimum, maybe a year and a half. But Eazy-E he contracted HIV in November of that year, and he died of AIDS in February, which is unheard of.
Right.
Unheard of.
So
you know what I'm
fast,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah. It's Hollywood's a motherfucker.
Oh, dude, it's big business, big money. That's people don't
Big
think about it,
money.
man. You think of it from the outside looking in, you're like, oh, this is a a chicken on a stage with some heat underneath of him dancing, but it's that times 10, man. It's a lot of money flowing through these things, and when things don't go the way these people that are providing the money want them to, there's big money solutions to that too.
Yeah.
Just scary.
Yeah, it's
Scary
fucking
thing to
crazy,
think
man.
of. Yeah.
Success and
Look
fame.
at Dave Chappelle. You know the story behind Dave Chappelle? Are you familiar?
Almost the same ordeal. Yeah.
And Dave
Almost certain
Chappelle
I've heard
survived
of
because
that.
he's a GS motherfucker. But he okay. So the Chappelle Show was this huge entity. It was a comedy sketch show in the early
Extremely
2000s.
successful.
And as many, at the time there's probably been a bunch of comedy sketch show, Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, stuff like that. But
Key
his
and Peele was the biggest one.
well, theirs came after the fact though.
Yeah,
so
oh, yeah.
well, check
That's
us out. And this is
Topping off of the Chappelle
It
show.
was,
type
yeah.
deal,
So Dave Chappelle's, when his came out, his was the first show like that. Not only from a black standpoint, you know what I'm saying, or an African American standpoint to view things like that, but he charged the bar so hard. He Comedy Central gave him full.
Yeah, he was hitting whiteface.
Dude,
He didn't give a shit.
Clayton Bigsby
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
man, where he was the black
racist.
Oh,
yeah, man.
dude.
Seriously, man.
God, that's one of the best comedy
First
sketches.
episodes, but that's what people don't realize
Yeah.
too, is that was one of the first episodes of Dave Chappelle, was the Clayton Bigsby thing where he was
Yeah, it was like
fucking
season one.
hilarious.
Yeah,
he was the black Klansman, and that set the tone for the whole thing. And he always stretched the bar. He always reached out. Anyway, show was it was outrageously successful, and went for 2 seasons. The third season, and I've watched all the interviews on this shit, but the first and second season they signed him for, and I'm not gonna quote this or not. I'm just gonna kind of. It was like 100,000, 200,000 probably for the first 2. The third season, when Comedy Central set him down to do it, it was
$50
for
million.
$50 million fucking dollars for the third season.
People love that show.
And but the thing is, it was for $50 million. This is the part that people don't realize, is it was for $50 million. But with that $50 million, this contract had a ton of stipulations. Obviously, it was it was
He
50.
said, "I never understand why every proud black man actor, Richard Pryor, anybody from the who was the guy back in the 70s who was on I can't remember his name, but I always wanted to put a black guy in a dress." He said, "I never understood it." He said they came on the bus one day and said, "Hey Dave, we got this hilarious rewrite."
Right.
He said, "We're going to put you in a dress. You come in as a prostitute." He said, "I'm not going to fucking do that."
Right.
He said, "I don't understand it. I'm not going to do it." He
Right.
said, and instead of just going the rewrite, the easier route, they kept pushing it. They kept pushing Meet Me in a Dress. He said every major black actor, they have to put in a dress and demasculate.
For sure.
And he said, he said no. And that's when he made the big move to Africa. And he said, fuck it. He said, I'm not doing it. And all that came after it. But I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. That's exactly where I was going.
He jumped the fuck out of everything.
That's what he related to. He just said, the bigger I got, he was like, the more, as this successful black man, it seemed like I just kept getting pinned in these corners, and it seemed like the more money that was tied to it or whatever, the more I was just chopped down to the block. And he said, when they came out with this $50 million, he said, I just knew in the back of my head, just because of how grounded I am, that this is it, man. And he said that his dad told him early on, this was a beautiful thing. He said his dad told him early on, when he was doing stand-up and stuff, he said, well, you're good at this, you're making money. He said, son, he said, always set your price in the beginning. He said, the price ever gets more than that, he said, get the fuck out. And he said, when they offered him $50 million, he said, it seemed too big, and he did, and he fled to Africa. And here's the thing, here's the crazy thing, when he fled to fucking Africa and shot down that $50 million, which ruined, you have to understand from a commercial standpoint, that for Comedy Central, it was their biggest fucking show. It was the biggest thing getting people to watch Comedy Central.
Yeah.
So when he turned it down, it was not just like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll find something else. It was like Comedy Central was
the thing.
freaking
the fuck out.
Like,
Yeah.
what are we going to do, blah, blah. So the first thing they did was They called him crazy. They said he's on drugs. He went off the
Quick,
handle.
get Eddie Murphy.
Call you crazy.
Get another funny black dude
The
in
most
here.
dismissive thing you can do to a person is call them crazy.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
did.
To ruin their
They
credibility.
tried to slaughter.
Exactly.
Everybody tried to slaughter him. Like, oh, there's something wrong with him. He didn't take a $50 million deal
Right.
and all that stuff. And he's just like, fuck it, I don't want the money.
Flip
Right,
Wilson
that's what
was
it
that
was.
guy from the '70s, a black actor from the '70s they made him go.
Flip-
dress
okay,
first.
yeah, for
Flip
sure.
Wilson.
When it's funny, and I've been a huge Dave Chappelle fan since back in the day, but it's funny, he went 10 years and only did like really small stand-up shows, if he did anything at all, but he just had the success with his Netflix specials here in the last probably
I've
funny
seen
as
something
fuck.
super cool where he went to Central Park in New York, set up just a little speaker and a mic, and was just doing stand up in the park.
Yeah.
They're
To a
so
small
funny.
crowd
Dave
of people.
fucking Chappelle.
he refused to
It's
do
fucking
anything for
insane.
10 years.
Yeah.
And he went on one of the late night shows and was explaining that they were like, well, you've been gone for 10 years. You finally decided to do these Netflix specials. And he said, here's the deal. I actually already had these Netflix specials, the first 2 that he released. He said, I'd already recorded them and had them just on the side or whatever. And he said that Netflix approached him several times over and over, and he kept refusing.
With like
And-
50 million a special, crazy.
Well, no, the last one they said, here's the deal that we're going to offer you. They said $50 million for 3 Netflix specials. Now he already had 2 sitting in the closet. He said he went to his closet and he said what made him do it was obviously the Dave Chappelle contract was for $50 million. So he said $50 million
Basically for one special.
$50 million. Here's the deal. The contract was written completely in his favor to where he had complete creative control of how it came out, the way it went out. There was nothing that gunholed him or whatever. So he waited 10 years, pulled 2 tapes out of a closet, blew them off, handed them to Netflix, made $50 million, and then had to do a separate one for them or
an
whatever
hour.
after the fact.
Yeah.
But had to wait 10 years to do it, but made the same $50 million that with no
He's a genius.
stipulations.
And
He's
you
a
know,
genius.
he's got 2 recorded, but he's probably got another 5 or
Oh, yeah.
6
Dude,
hours.
yeah.
I mean, with
written.
lines like that.
Oh, let's
Yeah.
go to the hospital, cut our dicks off, make pussies out of them shits.
Right. That's the shit, man. Like,
Go to the club, trick niggas in the fucking ass.
He's
like,
been waiting to bust out some of those jokes for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
you can
yeah,
tell.
yeah.
Those OJ jokes are really good too. I can't.
well,
I can't-
he did them 2 at a time, and he did one. The first he released 2 different ones. He released 2 at a time. He's got 4 of them on Netflix right now. Well, the first one he released, one of them was like this big stadium deal. The second one was actually Austin City Limits. It was which it wasn't a small show, but it wasn't a big show either. You could tell it was a lower grade show for the first 2. The second one he released, one of you could tell that he did for Netflix, like it was the one he did for Netflix or whatever. It was in California, huge stadium or whatever he did it for. But he also released one with that. He was at the Comedy Store in California, which is this very small comedy club.
Yeah.
And he's sitting on a fucking stool with his feet on the monitor, smoking cigarettes, talking shit. The whole, it's like just,
I'd love to go to that place.
just
bumming
being
cigarettes out of the
just
crowd.
being Dave Chappelle. And the one where he's sitting with his feet up on the monitors is my favorite one of all time,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Just because and I think that's why I love Dave Chappelle as a comedian so much, is because he writes jokes and does this. That's his thing. But what launches those things is he's just being Dave Chappelle, man.
Yeah.
He would
To have the freedom to just say fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go live in another country for 10 years.
Yeah.
And how about I'll come back when I want to?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable, yeah.
But he would be
phenomenal.
that funny talking to him on the street, just as funny as he would be. He's just a natural comedian,
He's a
man.
big
Yeah.
old boy now, though, isn't he, compared to what he used to be?
Yeah, he was a little
Walked
bitty.
up.
He worked out that whole 10 years.
Yeah.
Taking protein shakes and shit.
Definitely not crackhead Dave.
They won't
anymore.
catch me on Sunset Boulevard being fucking half-baked.
Well,
Dave
he
Chappelle.
didn't want to run to the Illuminati out there without being some muscle behind it. So, yeah.
yeah, we're rolling up at about 2 hours now, boys. So,
Okay.
So what do you guys think?
Dude, another comedian I wanted. We almost went to see him in Nashville, and we got too caught up.
I've already seen him in it.
We got too caught up in the bar scene in Nashville, man. But we
That's
went.
easy to do.
We had we went down for a dude's trip to Nashville, and we went to Rodizio Grill. It's
Ooh, yeah.
like a Brazilian grill down there, and bring meat out on big skewers and shit. And then we went to a couple bars, and the plan was to go to see Joey Diaz at a comedy room. Have you heard of him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, one of my favorite comedians. And he's one of those guys that you could talk to for hours and he would never run out of stories.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Dixie, get out. Well, at least she won't knock the camera over anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why the main reason we had to put it on the wall instead of a tripod because of her.
Well, I've just got a new puppy like a month ago, and it's about the same time I started my podcast. And it's a thing now where I have to. She's kennel trained, so I put her in the kennel. But the first couple, I was like, "Oh, I'll leave her out or whatever." Well, the whole first two, if you listen, about halfway through, there's this squeaker toy in the background.
Hey, we've had some where we had kids in the background, we had dogs in the background. Yeah,
So
you're like,
bad,
let's just see if it works. It never works.
Dixie's about the best fucking dog you could ever ask for.
She's great. She's super well behaved.
Dude, one of my favorite things about her that I have never experienced in any other dog. One, she doesn't bark unless it's like an emergency.
This puppy I've got doesn't bark either, man.
And two, she will not lick you. Unless she is just super loving at the time.
Right.
She won't lick you. And my pit bull Bo, dude, oh my God, he will lick you in the mouth every chance he gets, and it kills me. But Dixie, like, she'll get up and she'll just cuddle you. That's all she wants to just cuddle.
Well, my puppy Rosie, she's a lab beagle mix, so she's like, she looks just like a lab. And these are actually, people are breeding these dogs like this nowadays, but she has every feature of a lab. The only thing beagle about her is her size, and she's not supposed
like
to
a mini
get.
lab.
She's
basically.
she's like this big, and that's as big as she's supposed to get. So it's like a mini lab, And that was the big thing when I got her. I have a small little duplex, and I knew that I couldn't have a dog that barked all the time or whatever. And I was so worried about it. And a friend of mine actually had this puppy and was like, I have to move or whatever, and we can't take her with us. And so my daughter, my daughter's mom.
Got that same jacket on me.
I do too. I have the same.
Nice
Mine's
one.
gray. Yeah.
I had to quit wearing my lamb leather because everybody said I look like fucking Dan Hall in it. Everybody did.
You kind of got that Dan Hall vibe, you know.
I've heard it, man.
Yeah.
I've heard it.
But anyway, I got her, and that was my first thing. And this dog, literally, she's all puppy, and I'm not the most patient person as of now. We're learning to love each other slowly but surely. My daughter's just in love with her. That's her best friend now. She's such an animal person. Yeah. But she, in all accounts, is the best damn puppy ever, man. She never barks ever.
It's awesome.
Unless like she's spooked or something like that. Like my daughter's mom came in one day in the mornings or whatever. I work till, I play shows till 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get my daughter every day. So a lot of times my daughter's mom will drop my daughter off, and I'll leave the door unlocked, and she'll just come in, and my daughter will climb up in the bed with me and watch the tablet or whatever. Anyway, one of the first weeks I had her or whatever, my daughter's mom came in with her, and it spooked her, and she barked, and it woke me up, and she's got such a loud bark, and I
got that beagle in her.
In 2 weeks, I'd never heard this dog bark until she got scared like that. But she never barks. She's a puppy, so the only two beefs I have with her right now is that she's just tearing everything up, chewing everything up, teething.
It's worse for a while.
And
is she fixed?
It's not yet.
Dude, that'll help a lot.
Well, I was going to say the second thing is she the chick I got her from had her really well house broke, but it was kind of to their house, and that was one of the things when she told me, she's like, oh, she's so house broke. She never
takes a little bit to get them accustomed to.
But as soon as I brought her to my house, the first thing she did was she came in and pissed and shit on my floor. And,
my house.
She didn't know. She's 6 months old. She's a baby. She's a baby puppy. And but just with me, I honestly I didn't grow up with dogs in the house and stuff. It's a new thing to me, kind of like so. It's a give and take. It's me learning her, but in the last month we've settled in, and she's such a great puppy.
Once that dog kind of figures out what's expected of them, then they kind of like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Dog with any intelligence.
I've got a 6-month-old husky, so
your dog's so smart.
She's too smart for her age. Like it drives me. She's already trying to get into the ice maker and all that stuff. Shit. Yeah, because she knows what's in there. So. But I know the kind of pains you're going through.
For sure, man.
I grew up with 3 dogs that did nothing but bark.
Yeah.
At literally anything.
Right.
Anything they could bark at, they did. and it fucking pissed me off.
Yeah.
So with my dogs, I was like, they are not going to bark
Right.
unless it is a threat to our life.
For
That
sure.
is the only reason they are going to
For
bark
sure.
is to stand their ground. That's what I want. And so all three of them, with the exception of Bo's an interesting case. Anyway,
Right.
we were actually playing beer pong in the garage at like 2:00 in the morning.
I wasn't there for that. but-
No, you weren't. With Bryce and Dakota, both been on the show. Anyway, and we had the garage door up, and they were playing beer pong, and Bo came in, which is actually kind of weird because a couple of months before, he had tried to attack me in my front yard, and I almost shot him.
Oh my god.
I had to jump into the bed of my truck to get him to stop, and he ran off.
This is your dog.
This is now the dog I own.
Right.
At the time, he was just a dog in the neighborhood that all the
I got
kids
you.
loved.
I got you.
And I like I said, I jumped in the bed of my truck, and he was still trying to come after me. I drew my gun on him, and then he ran off. Well, then we were hammered playing beer pong, and he came into the garage, and Lacey was sitting on the floor against a wall, and he went over just like he owned the place. Just walked right in, sat in Lacey's lap. Just sat right down.
Yeah.
So naturally, drunk Lacey comes inside, gets him all kinds of chicken, and
Yeah.
I mean, we had a dog food bowl that was mounded over with food.
Wow.
And he, gorged down. Long battle with returning him to the owners, and then him coming back.
Yeah.
Apparently, they were going through a divorce. Nobody was at the house. They were keeping him chained up in the backyard. He kept escaping, coming here.
Right.
So after the third time, we were like, listen, we understand your situation. If you want us to foster him, we're totally fine with that until you get settled down. You can come get him.
Yeah.
Not a problem. They were like, no, we'll just figure it out, And about 3 weeks later, Lacey, I was at work. She had sent me a link. I clicked on it, and it was Bo at the Davis County Humane Society.
Oh shit.
It's like,
man.
are you fucking shitting me? Instead of just letting him foster,
Right.
or letting us foster him for him, they just gave him to the pound. So we went on lunch to pick him up, and he's been a part of our family ever since.
That's
But
badass.
he
man.
is the dog that will bark at anything.
Yeah.
But he is also the dog that will seriously fuck somebody up if they try to get
sure.
at Lacey.
Right.
Now, like, I had to do a lot of like alpha exercises with him
For sure.
when he first came in the house, because he was like, he's a natural born alpha. Like, he is.
He's got that pit in him too.
If anybody comes in, like, he is your dominant until you prove otherwise. So for the longest time, man, it was like I would put my plate of food on top of his food bowl, and I would eat in front of him.
Right.
And he had to wait until I finished and I moved my plate
For sure.
for him to eat. Like if he was sitting beside Lacey on the couch, I would make him get down and I would sit there, even if just for 10 seconds.
Right.
It feels like you're being an asshole.
No, but it's about that dominance.
And any time I came home, as soon as I'd walk through the door, he'd meet me at the door. That's what the alpha of the house does. They meet the new guest at the door. I would immediately make him roll over, and I would stand over top of him while he's on his back until he stopped fighting it.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I'll still have to brush him up on some things because
sure.
every now and then he'll try to challenge it. Every now and then he'll, like, to this day, if Lacey goes to bed before me and I'm watching TV, I'll go in there and he'll be laying in my spot. I'm like, Bo, move. And he'll just kind of look at me like, not moving.
Right.
And I have to make him move.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of that refresher course for him.
Well, see, I'm part owner in a Rottweiler kennel now that my mom and my stepdad have had for years. They raise pure breed Rottweilers, man.
That's awesome.
And even before I became partners with that or whatever, I've always been better with more dominant dogs actually. And
I can see that.
Well,
You're a pretty
and-
big dude. You're
Yeah.
You got a voice that carries, and for dogs, that's a big thing.
well, I'll tell you this. I realize kind of how important it is for me to have more of a dog like that. I think with Rosie's the name of the puppy that I have now. She's this Lab Beagle mix, and she's just a sweetheart, man. She's the sweetest dog. She's really timid and really backwards, and every time she messes up, I don't mean to, but I have a big voice, and hey, blah blah, and she just freaks out and shakes and shakes. And I'm realizing more as I go along that I'm just more used to these big dominant dogs. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing about a dominant dog, and you can chase me on this, is you can be dominant. You can be as dominant as you need to be in the house, okay? But as soon as you overstep the lines and you're being too mean, that dog's gonna let you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They'll-
Like,
they'll-
listen, don't listen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you be dominant, but don't
Right.
fuck with me,
You can
man.
be the
Like,
alpha, but I will
fuck
still
you.
bite you.
I will fuck
Yeah.
you up if you overstep your bounds.
Yeah.
And a small dog is not always like that. Sometimes you can, not even me. I'm like, she'll piss in the floor and I'll freak the fuck. God damn it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what the shit? I don't mean to be like that. You know what I'm saying? And she'll scurry off. But a bigger dog wouldn't be like that. A bigger dog would take it only to a certain extent, I guess. And I've learned that about Rosie. So anyway, over the last couple of weeks, I've came to that realization. I've backed off Rosie a little bit. Not been so hard on her about
It kind of
pissing
puts
on
me.
my carpets and me having to clean it up and shit.
It kind of puts me in a weird spot with Bo because if I take him in public, he is the most well-behaved dog.
He's a very
Anybo-
well-behaved dog.
Anybody
Yeah.
can approach him and pet him without regard, like with like little kids and
Yeah.
shit. Never aggressive towards children.
Right.
When Lacey takes him in public, even if it's with me most of the time, but especially if she's by herself, if a man is within 15 fucking feet of
Very
her,
protective.
it is not happening. You will not get near my wife.
No shit.
Not happening. And it's like.
As much trouble as
don't-
that is, it's
I-
got to be somewhat.
Right. It's like I can't get onto him for being what he's supposed to be.
Right.
He's the alpha when I'm
feels
not
like
there.
that's his job.
It's his
yeah.
job to protect. So it's like, okay, well, we just won't take Bo when you're there.
Right.
You know, we can take Duke or Dixie, no problem. We can take them anywhere. I can take Bo anywhere, not a problem.
Right.
And then the other day, it was really peculiar because I got onto him and I got on him really hard, but then I was kind of second guessing myself because what happened is my buddies were meeting me over here in the garage to work on one of my friend's 4-wheelers he was keeping here. And instead of coming to the door, I went outside into the garage, raised the garage door, and they all came in through the garage. So Bo didn't meet anybody at the door. He didn't know anybody was here. He thought I left.
Right.
And then one of my friends came through the garage door right as Lacey was at the garage door. And Bo was right beside her, and he lunged at him and got like super aggressive, super fast. And I came in, and I got super loud, super aggressive, put him on his back immediately.
Right.
And, just because... with dominant dogs, if you're not loud and crazy, they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
man.
you've got to assert yourself if you're gonna have any impact on them. And so with that one, it was like, man, it was such a hard place for me because he's in his own house.
Right.
He's protecting who he's supposed to protect.
Right.
From a person he didn't know was here and just walked into the house.
For sure.
But at the same time, it's not okay because it's somebody who's supposed to be here.
Right.
But it's a hard.
But he didn't
it's a
know
hard
that.
line.
Yeah,
it's a hard
It's a
line.
very hard line, man.
So I don't want somebody who's not supposed to be here to walk in and he'd be like,
Well-
"Oh, well, Dad's gonna get on me, so I better not."
And it's
yeah.
it's a scary line to the fact that obviously most people that have a dog like that, they want that dog for a certain reason. Like if I had a dog like that, I would want my house to be protected. I don't have a problem with having a dog that's very
Well,
protected.
we've got cameras. I've got loads of
Right.
guns, and I've
You
got
know,
a dog
I
that will eat anybody.
I don't have a problem with the dog that's going to protect my house. But the scary
Yeah.
part about that is if you train a dog or let a dog be like that, it's almost like you have to be one or the other. You have to have a dog that's super sociable,
Yeah.
that will love on anybody, or you have to have a dog that knows that he's a protector and will question anybody that comes in. But it's almost like you can't have both. It's hard to have both.
It is,
you know?
man.
And
The great thing about Bo is that with kids, he loves kids.
yeah,
With him, he's really peculiar about his ears.
yeah,
So I can mess with his ears. I can take his toys from him. I can do whatever the fuck I want. He's
Right.
fine with it. But like, he doesn't like people touching his ears.
Yeah.
He's very particular about his toys. Like,
Yeah.
if you were to go try to take his toy, he would not appreciate it.
right.
So it's just
Is Bo the
Bo's the pit mix. So I don't know if you've seen
Brown
him.
and white.
He's got a white stripe up his forehead.
not who came in just a minute ago?
That was Dixie.
That was
She's-
Dixie.
She's
no.
my
Bo.
female.
Okay, when I
Yeah.
went out to smoke just a second ago,
Yeah.
when I came back in, Bo was
Yeah. Who are you? Where's Dad?
yeah,
What are you
exactly.
doing?
And
Yeah.
I've been around dogs so long though. I was very immediately like, hey man, it's cool,
Right.
dude. You know,
Yeah.
it's chill, and came immediately in here, of course, because I know how that thing goes, but
But with kids, man, it's insane. Like there's been several children over here at one time, and I was watching this one little girl in particular, and Bo was at my feet, and I was like hovering over him.
Yeah.
But she had his head. He likes to put his big old fat head in people's laps.
Yeah.
And he had his head in her lap, and she was literally playing with his ears, just pulling on him and just twisting them all up and shit. And I told her to stop, and then she did it again. I was like, well, he's not acting aggressive towards her. He's not showing any signs of anything. I'm going to see if he's just okay with kids.
Yeah.
And he had been a stray in our neighborhood for months.
Right,
And all
right.
the kids were playing with him.
Right.
And sure enough, man, I mean, when he was done with it, he just got up and walked off.
Right.
No signs of aggression at all. But we've got another male, the black lab you seen when you came in. They cannot be together. 100% can't be together.
Yeah.
They will try to kill each other on sight. I mean, when we first got them, they were best friends. They would sleep together. We've got pictures of them cuddling.
Yeah.
Like they would. It was crazy. And then one day they got into a fight in the garage, and because we put the dogs in the garage when we leave.
Right.
And ever since, man, it's just been. But our black lab, there's something not right with him mentally.
Yeah.
Like he's just a little slower. He always has been.
Yeah.
And so I think what it is that Bo's the alpha, and Duke, the black lab, does not understand.
I gotcha.
So, like, especially when Lacey comes home is when they would do it the most. Lacey would come in the door. The alpha greets the guest at the door.
Right.
It's just how it is. So Bo would try to be first down the hallway, and Duke would run past him. And so when Lacey would come in the door, it was immediate
Confrontation. Yeah.
Bo would be loud, scary. He would, like, it was more, he wouldn't bite and latch. It was just like a, rawr, like, fuck off.
Right. Right.
But Duke thought he was trying to kill him, so Duke would latch on and just hold. And so then we'd get into a situation where Bo would just be done. He'd just be chilling with Duke latched onto him somewhere. And then we would have to just wait it out until Duke decided to try to regrip, and then we could pull him apart.
Wow.
Or just, I mean, we tried everything. Man.
Right. Right.
So now it's just, they live separate lives completely.
Yeah.
And it's really not that difficult. It was at first to just get used to it, but now we just cycle them out every like hour, every 2 hours or something. But it's just become a part of the routine now. But it's so weird, man. Dogs have such crazy personalities that you just latch onto over time.
For sure.
There's quirks with every dog.
For sure, man.
What are you thinking, Chase?
I'm thinking about my dog.
Dude, your dog is outstandingly smart.
She's very smart. She's a good girl. I took her out. I take her out to Panther all the time, and she knows how she needs to behave there. She's not as socialized as I'd want her to be with other dogs. But
Right.
That's the toughest thing because it's like
Your dog's an alpha. She's an alpha female.
Yeah, she's an alpha female.
She
so
will
it's kind
take
of
toys
difficult.
from my female.
Yeah.
Who is 3 times bigger than her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
she's probably about 35 pounds, not even 45 pounds, right? She's about 6-month-old husky. She probably get to about 55, 60 pounds.
Yeah.
But she does not like other dogs up on her. And you know, the funny thing is, smaller animals, she's not aggressive towards them, but she tries to play with them a little more aggressive.
She's like,
than
I
small-
could fuck you up.
Yeah,
Right,
well,
right.
Yeah,
she
like, I
plays
could kill
with,
you if I
like
wanted
with
to.
our cat. Like she chases our cat around, but like she'll go up and try to nip at the cat, but not like I'm gonna bite your leg off nip. It's more of like a hey, come on, let's play. You know, and same thing with my sister. She's got a toy poodle. You know, which is a dog that
rat.
can't play. Yeah, a dog that can't play with any.
Pretty
other
much what I
dog.
have.
It
I have
can't
2
pee
tomcats.
outside,
It's
so
pretty
it's a
much the same
rat.
thing.
Yeah, and my sister's dog is 5.4 pounds. Okay, and I've got a 35-pound dog, so you know, and she just chases her around. It's like she's almost like a squirrel.
Yeah.
you know, so it's just like the more you run, the more my dog's gonna chase. So it's been difficult.
And you take
to social-
Tia on runs and
Oh, I
shit, so
take
your
her-
dog's super athletic.
I take her running and running and running out. Like I'll take her out to the Panther and I'll lock her in like the baseball diamond, and then
Yeah.
I'll just throw the ball as far as I can. She'll run and get it, and then I'll run and she'll chase me. I'll run and throw the ball, and
Hell
I
yeah.
can't wear her out. I can't. I've tried.
Have
so
you tried
hard.
to use the whipstick?
Oh yeah, she's loves that.
Does she
thing.
love it?
Yeah, she chewed it in half. So
Oh,
yeah, I
son
left
of
it
a
out
bitch.
one day.
Well,
and
it's
she
super easy to make, though.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least.
yeah. I could remake
Yeah.
it.
Have
but
you ever made one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
flirt poles or
Not
Yeah,
with
fart
not
bowl.
with that a long time ago. I had a coonhound.
Yeah.
Man, yeah.
Dude, I made one for Dixie. You just seen her. She's 100 pounds of fucking bratwurst, dude.
Yeah.
She's a red lab, gorgeous, sweet dog, and she is so obese, dude. What's crazy is like I would take my 4-wheeler or my Razor out, and I would drive around the neighborhood at 10 miles an hour, and she will keep up with me for as long as I want
She's
to
an
go.
athletic.
She will go
bratwurst.
and go and go. Like Bo, he'll go like a lap around the neighborhood. Like he'll go a mile and be
Right.
like, oh, "Fuck this,
I'm
dude!
done
I'm
with this.
going,
I'm headed to the
going
house."
home." Duke
Yeah.
won't even leave the house. He has no interest in
Right.
exercising. But Dixie, the most athletic dog I have, is so
She's the
fat,
biggest,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Well, you know, she's
Yeah.
probably good.
Yeah, in a dead-on sprint, my dog's in a light trot, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm like, I can't keep this up, and she could probably run for hours like that. And I'm
Right.
it's wild, man. And those flirt poles, Dixie loves
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's just what I did is I got probably a 4-foot stick of PVC, and then I drilled a hole in the end of it and stuck paracord through the top, ran it all the way down, tied it off to the end, and then left about 6 foot of paracord out of the top, and then drilled a hole straight through a tennis ball, stuck a pin shaft through it, ran the paracord through it, tied a big fucking knot on the end. So basically what you got is a ball on a string connected to a PVC handle
Right.
that you can just flick around in all kinds of different directions.
Yeah.
And Dixie will chase that thing for hours. 'Cause she's so reward driven, man.
Yeah.
So reward driven. I had to train her for so long to play fetch, and now she will do anything for that tennis ball.
I guarantee
It's
it.
crazy. It's crazy. She we'll go by the lake over here, and I have to beg her not to jump in.
That's awesome.
She and baths, dude. She'll lay on her back in the bathtub and just fucking sprawl
I
out.
envy that.
She loves water, but
That's
she's a lab.
badass.
It's in her, it's in her blood.
I had a horse. I grew up. Time I was 14 to time I was 18 with horses. My mom had 9 head of horses at one time.
Wow.
And I grew up the summer between my junior and senior year. Me and my cousin around Hancock County is where my mom lives, but we were taking horses in and breaking them and for money or whatever. So my senior year of high school. My school clothes and everything that I bought was from breaking horses the year before, or whatever. But anyway,
That's awesome.
This horse that I had at that time, his name was Big Willie, and I bought him at a slaughterhouse. His name was Big Willie. I bought him in a slaughterhouse. He was this huge. He was like 16 hands, which is really tall for a horse.
Isn't that so weird how you measure horses?
It did in hands, yeah.
Like, can we not just call it 6 foot? Like what?
Right. But he was 16 hands, which is really tall for a horse. But at a horse auction, they have what's called the slaughters, and it's these people take these horses that they can't get to gain weight or that are sick or that just aren't. It's sad, but just aren't pretty, and they can't get to whatever. And you'll take them to what's called the slaughters at the auction, and what they do is either farmers will buy them for just to keep in a field to keep the to keep the grass down or whatever, or these slaughterhouses will come in and buy them and they'll go to the glue factory or whatever. Well, anyway, I bought
Glue factory or
seriously,
whatever. Yeah.
seriously, yeah.
That's funny.
They make dog food out of horses. Like
Yeah.
that's a real thing.
I heard horse is super good.
It
Like
is.
horse
I've
backstrap?
had
Meat, yeah.
I love backstrap. Like I've got backstrap in the dude. You got all right.
This
before you leave,
same auction makes horse burgers. Like has horse
Word.
burgers on staff, which sounds weird, but they're
Remind me to
actually
get you
really
guys
good.
to try my deer jerky before you leave.
Oh, I definitely
First
want to.
year I
I'm-
made it. Forewarning. First
I'm
year.
kind of a
So
kind of a critic. So
I look forward to your feedback.
Yeah.
I think some of it, I was really scared to undercook it, so I overcooked it a bit.
okay,
But it's not. It's still flexible.
okay,
You know what I mean? It doesn't break. It's flexible, so it passes that test.
yeah.
Just it's a little darker than I would. But then again, like Slim Jims and shit aren't a good measure
Right,
of what
right.
deer
Yeah.
jerky should look like.
Absolutely
So,
not, yeah,
anyway,
so-
go ahead.
Anyway, this horse, I said all this to say, this horse, Big Willie, he was my favorite horse I've ever owned. And he was this horse I bought at the slaughters. They couldn't get him to gain any weight. This horse looked like a fucking skeleton walking around. And I was a lot smaller than I am now. I'm a big boy now, but I've always been a relatively big guy. So even then, I'm probably around 290, 300 now. And I was probably 250, 260. And this horse that was just pure skin and fucking bones looked like he was about to die, okay? name was Big Willie. 16 hands. He was super tall. He had a fucking muscle on his body. And I bought him because at this auction, he was licking on me and shit. I just had this, I don't know, I had this weird connection with him. And the person, I also bought him because this person was selling him because he was in the slaughters for $100.
Oh, word.
He was a Tennessee, and he was a Tennessee Walker. He was a Tennessee Walker that looked fucking ugly as shit. Couldn't get no weight. But $100 bill, I took him home. And I had this horse for like 5 years. And I rode him all the time. He looked so bad. He looked like he was sick all the time. But this horse could haul my fucking 250-pound ass, 260-pound ass anywhere I wanted to go. I took him on 1,000 rides. I took him on, never miss a beat, never act. You know, I rode horses all my life, so you can always tell when a horse is getting fatigued or hot or whatever. This horse could keep up with anybody. The one thing about this horse, though, and this is the only reason I brought this up, was if you ever got around water with this horse, whether it was a river or a lake or a creek or whatever, this horse loved fucking water. And this
It never happens.
I thought you were
Well-
about to say lost its mind or something.
no, and this horse was so broke. Like, this horse would do anything you said. He was steer broke and everything. The perfect riding horse. But I'm telling you, if this horse spotted a lake out of the side of his eye,
He was
you
going for it.
couldn't pull his fucking haul. You could rip his head to the side of his breast, okay, the opposite way, and this horse would stumble into the water, and this horse would take you across the fucking lake. He loved to swim. He loved the water. Not just get in the water, but he would swim across the lake.
That's crazy.
And, what a lot of people don't realize is the horses are great swimmers.
Really?
A horse can swim with you on their back. People used to ride horses across the Ohio River all the time. Horses
Wow.
are great swimmers. You can actually ride a horse through water. And
I
have
don't
them
advise
swim
anybody
you
to try
across.
it, but that's a cool fact.
It's actually not that unsafe that they keep you above water and everything.
Wear a life
Like,
jacket.
yeah, right. People used to do it all the time.
Just saying, in case the
Well,
horse is like, fuck this, I'm drowning.
right. The only way that I know it's so safe is because fucking Big Willie over here
Big Willie.
took me across
Yeah.
any lake ever. I've had Big Willie out in Kentucky Lake, like in the fucking deepest parts of Kentucky
Damn.
Lake, swimming around trying to pull his ass.
You had a John
man.
boat.
And they're great swimmers. And a lot of times they'll keep you right above water, but the way that they swim is their head is just perfectly above water where they can breathe. And they keep you above water nice, though.
That's crazy.
It's really cool. It's actually
Yeah.
kind of cool swimming on the back of a horse. But
They're close to dying, but they keep you.
Yeah.
right, they keep you above
They
water.
keep that mission focused, you know?
But it's a great. And the only part, it was really cool the first couple times it happens. But if you're on a horse ride, you're not wanting to get wet because you're out in the fucking heat all day or whatever. And your horse takes you and just drowns you, clothes and all. And it gets annoying, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's why it's so like, God damn, here comes the lake.
Yeah, here comes
This
the
fucking horse.
Yeah, playing your route
horse
accordingly.
yeah, a
and-
horse around and shit. So,
Yeah.
but I had Big Willie
Quit
for
horsing around. you
yeah,
know?
I had Big Willie for 5 years though, and my mom sold out of all of her horses, and I ended up having to get rid of them just because I didn't have any place to keep. They weren't keeping horses anymore, so and I ended up selling them to a friend of mine. But he was a good horse for 5 years, man.
Man, the only time I've really had experience with horses, as far as riding them,
Yeah,
we went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
yeah.
We went to Cades Cove up there, and they've got a place where you can ride horses. We're empty, bro.
Oh, are we?
We
Yeah.
drank it
No
all.
shit. Okay. Life is good. The grass is
Yeah.
green.
I'm feeling good. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, we went up to Cades Cove, and they had a place where you could ride horses, and it was like a several mile little loop through the woods
Yeah.
where you could see deer and all that kind of shit. It was really cool. Super cheap. I think it was like maybe $23 a person.
Yeah.
And it was like an hour activity. So up there is pretty solid for
Right,
your
right.
money to time ratio. And so we go, and they're like teaching us all the things, like how to control the horses and stuff like that. And then they get you on this big platform that's just about fucking level with the horse's back for all the fatties and
Right,
shit.
right.
And dude, what's funny is they're like, have you ever seen Wall-E? There were some of those people trying to ride the horses,
Oh my
and like they put them on these big ass
Falling
Clydesdales
off
that
the
look
side
like
and
fucking
shit.
buffaloes, and they had them leading the pack. It was fucking hysterical to me.
Yeah.
But we were riding. And they put us on these two horses, and it was a male and a female. And they told us ahead of time. He said, "Now, so you know, she gets a little aggravated with him because he tries to bite her tail and he tries to mess with her and shit whenever they're riding in a line together." So just keep an eye out for that. If they start misbehaving, we'll switch up the order a bit. But
Yeah.
they didn't want to do that because it was me and my new wife together.
Right.
And so we were going down this trail, and sure enough, her horse kept fucking brake checking my horse because he was like biting her tail and shit. So she would just stop. My horse would run into her, and it was the funniest fucking thing to see these animals interact like this.
Yeah.
And we get to this last hill, and they're like, "All right, if you guys want to open them up, they can run full speed ahead. Just hold on really tight."
Yeah.
Well, my wife had this genius idea to put her phone between her legs on horseback, going
shit.
full speed up this
That's
hill.
straight up.
And her horse was fucking hauling, son. Like, she clicked this horse's size, and it just took off. My horse was like, "Yeah, we'll get there, buddy." There's no hurry. It was like a solid jog at most, you know. But her horse was zooming, ran straight to the front of the pack. They had to slow it down for her.
Yeah.
But her phone, dude, I seen
Gone.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to circle around and get it. But man, the guides were the nicest dudes.
Yeah. Where was this at?
That was at Cades Cove in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we stayed up there for I guess a week and a half.
Yeah.
Man, that was so much fun.
I love it down there.
I hope
man,
it's
yeah.
I hope it's gotten a little prettier since the fires and everything.
Yeah.
So we were gonna go back that year, and then with the fires, we're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. But
It's yeah. I went down there about 5 or 6 years ago, and stayed. I actually went on this. I was just going on this retreat by myself. I was about to go full time into music, and I was quitting my full time job, and I took my 2 weeks of vacation from the job. I went to Gatlinburg and just rented a cabin and just got in my own
that's
head.
what we did, man.
Got in my own
Cabin,
headspace, man. Just trying
mountain
to figure
view,
shit out.
jacuzzi on the porch.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
It was good, man.
That's where
Black
it's at.
bear, every once in a while, you can just give the middle finger to and it runs off.
Man, I was
Right.
hoping we'd see a bear or a moose or
Yeah.
something cool. No.
It's as many times
We've
I've been to
seen a couple
Gatlinburg.
deer.
I've
Usually,
never
if you
seen.
see a black bear, you'll see a little Asian family that gets off course and runs into the wood line to take pictures of them, and then they both fucking disappear at the same time.
Gone.
That's exactly what I saw.
Right. As many times I've been to Gatlinburg, I've never seen a bear, but I grew up in Somerset, Kentucky, and I went back there this year just to visit, and apparently black bear have just taken over this area. They're all over the place in
Really?
eastern Kentucky.
Man,
right
I hope
now,
they
black
come
bears
this
are.
far west.
I didn't see one or anything, but I went to B Rock as it's in the Daniel Boone National Forest. It's this resort. It's like this huge
That's like south from here, right? That's around Paducah.
southeast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's not as far as Paducah. What's the one? There's Paducah's like almost in a national forest, right?
No, this is the opposite side of the state. I'm talking eastern Kentucky.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. That's western Kentucky. But yeah, this is pretty far east. If you go to Bowling Green, take the Lake Cumberland Parkway.
Like to like Hazard.
It's before Hazard, yeah.
Okay.
But it's where Richmond, Kentucky's at, where
Yeah.
EKU's at. It's about
Right.
30 minutes south of
Okay.
Richmond. So it's right there. You wouldn't call it deep east, but you know what I mean. It's definitely eastern Kentucky, but it's right on the edge of the Daniel Boone.
Like
National
almost
Forest.
blue, but just like a
Not
tint.
quite blue.
Yeah, I see.
just the tint. Yeah.
You just kind of hear the banjos like in the distance. You can find Sean. It's just not that fresh, you know.
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
I feel you.
But anyway, when I lived there, bears wasn't a thing there, and I went back to visit and went to some of these natural, like B Rock is this, like I said, it's this huge rock. It's like 500 feet off the ground. You can climb it. You can,
Wow.
or whatever, and you can take pictures up there or whatever. And the Laurel River runs around it. It's really beautiful. So while I was down there, I was by myself again. I went down there and was checking that out, and there was posters everywhere, just beware, bears are active in this area at this time or whatever. I never seen one, but it was just very
Now,
interesting.
black
that-
bears are super like timid of people, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can
it's
chase a
it's
black bear
like
off.
brown
sure.
bears and Kodiak bears, which
Right.
are the same type of bear, just live
Right.
in
Yeah, you
different
don't want to
habitats.
fuck with those.
Yeah, those are the ones that'll fuck you up.
Right.
Which brown bears will too, I'm sure. But
If you corner a bear,
Yeah.
just same as
Yeah.
anything,
yeah,
I'd say.
I've seen I've seen videos of brown bears that like climb tree stands and shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
get right up on hunters.
Right.
Like stop.
Get
Like
outta
what's going on up here, bud?
fucking 30-06 to
Yeah.
the face, motherfucker.
And I wish we had a bear season. I wish they would come. I also see like it's a double-sided sword because I would like it if we had like some hogs,
Right.
but
There's
you
no
don't,
such
you don't
thing
get
as
some hogs,
Right.
right? You get all the hogs.
Right. It's bad.
Yeah,
man.
but like I have my cousin. He went down south and did a hog hunt. And
So they're
he's-
huge.
Yeah, he's got them
It's
mounted
a-
and everything. Dude, I
It's a
want to
problem down south. Actually,
I want to go to
Just-
Texas so bad and do a helicopter hog hunt where they fly you around and you chase down. Have you seen those?
No.
Dude, they use suppressed ARs, and you'll sit on the side of this helicopter, and they'll fly you around fields,
No.
and you just
Yeah.
with suppressed ARs and just
Shit,
run down whole herds of them. Yeah,
Jesus.
There's
There's
such
a problem.
Yeah.
That's what to say. Like, there's no doubt about it. And they're so aggressive. Like, you
They're
know,
mean as fuck.
very
dude.
aggressive.
A lot
Man.
of
So
They
they're kind of
destroy-
dangerous. Yeah.
With a B, billions of dollars of crops every year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
across the United States. It's insane.
It's wild, man.
Yeah, they're assholes for sure. Just like coyotes here, dude. I cannot wait for deer season to be over now.
For sure.
Like I've got my buck. My wife hasn't, so I can't say it just yet. But like,
Right.
as soon as she tags out, I'll be ready. You know.
I haven't hunted in several years, man. I used to deer hunt every year, but
Mm-hmm.
and I've always been an avid deer hunter, but I've always been a huge coon hunter. I don't know if you guys coon hunt at all.
That is one type of hunting I've never done.
I used to be huge in it before about 5 years ago. I guess I got out of it.
I hear you
just
really gotta have
staying
dogs
so
for
busy.
it.
You do.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But the thing about it was, me and my uncle Mike used to coon hunt a lot, and he had just a top-notch dog. I mean, you can pay, these dogs are super expensive, and he had the top-notch dogs and all that. And I used to do these coon hunting competitions and stuff with him. But anyway, we would hunt. He would invite me out. We'd go coon hunting all season or whatever, and he would take the carcasses. He would collect hides, so he would always skin them.
Okay.
And
Make little hats.
Most people don't eat. Yeah, well, most people don't eat coon meat. You can.
Yeah.
Most people don't. So
I heard it's not terrible as long as it's prepared.
depends on who's
and
cooking. I was about to
barbecued.
say I've had it really
I've heard
good.
like
Might as well just stick with
listen.
deer.
If you smother anything in Sweet Baby Ray's, I'll eat the fuck
Right,
out of
I've
it.
had it
You know?
really good.
You know what I mean?
meat and you put
Just
it in
shred it and
right?
just dunk it in Sweet Baby Ray's.
I've had it really
Doesn't
good
matter.
and I've had it really awful. But most people
Yeah.
don't eat coon meat. Most people, if you're gonna claim that you're hunting for a reason, it's for
Yeah.
hide. And so we would skin them, and he would he would collect hides all season, and pretty much just talking to him, it would pay for his dog food for the season. It would just pretty much keep him in business of hunting. He
Yeah.
wouldn't make no money off of it, but he'd sell hides to the Amish and stuff at the end of the
That's cool.
season,
Yeah.
and he'd make like $500-600 or whatever, just enough to pay for what his dogs ate and shit
Right.
for the season. But anyway, but what we would do is he had a spot. We would throw the carcasses. He's got a big farm out in Whitesville. We would throw the carcasses over the hill, and he would get a collection of those going, and we'd go out at night after coon hunting and stuff when morning
Yeah.
was breaking, and he had a fucking AR out there. He had we'd swap
Yeah.
the 22 that we coon hunted with for an AR, and we'd go out there and these fucking coyotes that are just
Smoking.
massively over
Yeah.
populated out there. Yeah, we just fucking lay them
Man.
down, dude. And
I just see. I dabbled in a little bit of coyote hunting with my AR a while back.
yeah,
And it's kind of like the wrong time. Like you really want to coyote hunt when it gets a little colder.
Right.
Which around now, dude, it's like you go straight from summer to fucking winter anymore. And
right.
now start of winter is deer season. So I started in the summer, didn't really get much results, so I just kind of held off. But man, I've got a brand new Remington 700 22-250 with a Nikon ProStaff 7 scope on it. Buddy, I'm fucking ready.
Ready to rock.
I've got a brand new speaker. I've loaded out with coyote gear.
Hell yeah.
So as soon as the season's over, my cousin Rodney, we're gonna go hit him hard.
holler
man.
at me, man. I'll go.
100%.
100%. I don't have any gear anymore or nothing,
Oh,
but
shit.
I'll go
Yeah,
just to
I've
hang
got it all
out.
for you.
I'll go just to hang out. Check it out. I
Yeah,
love
dude.
that shit, man. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, a lot of people online were saying 22-250 is not good for deer, and I was like, man, I mean, it really depends on shot placement.
Right,
I mean,
right.
as long as you're a good shot. And so I had already shot. I don't know if you've seen my buck this year. Did you see it? I posted it on
haven't seen it.
Facebook. I shot a 13-point atypical buck with symmetrical drop tines.
Oh shit. Man.
Yeah, nice deer, man. And so after I shot him, I wasn't too.
Oh fuck.
I wasn't
man.
too concerned. I was more concerned about my wife shooting one than I
Right.
was with shooting a doe. So I was like, all right, well, we're gonna hunt in separate spots, so we can cover.
Fuck, dude. He's beautiful.
Yeah, dude, you can scroll if you want. There's more of them. But I was like, we're gonna hunt in separate spots. So she took my 308 and I took my 22 250. And I was like, man, I really want to see if this is a good deer round. Wow. And she shot at a deer, unfortunately missed the deer.
Right.
And so she went back to the truck. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to hang out till nightfall.
Yeah.
And then I'll meet you back at the truck.
Yeah.
So I'm hunting probably a solid half mile from my truck.
Yeah.
And it's across about 100 acres of open field. And so I'm walking from where I was hunting at back to my truck across this open field. There's a little bit of daylight left. And it's where, like, the sun is setting, and it's shining through the trees where it's just a couple of beams of direct light in places, and that's
Right.
it. And I was walking back to the truck, and a beam of light was just hitting on something just so perfectly out of my peripheral that it caught my vision. And about maybe 100, 120 yards away, there was a doe on the edge of the wood line. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is perfect. The only unperfect thing is like I said, I was standing in the middle of a massive fucking cornfield. So she could see me as plain as day as I could see her.
Right.
And so the only thing dividing us was this hill in between us. And so when I seen her, I pulled her up at my scope, and I was so out of breath and shaky from walking this distance through a muddy ass field and all my gear and everything that I couldn't get what I perceived as a reliable enough shot with such a small caliber.
Right, right.
So I didn't want to take the chance. I wanted to get a clean kill. So I immediately, I put her in my scope. It was too shaky. So I dropped to my hands and knees. And I low crawled probably 20, 30 yards up to the top of this. It was like a little hill. And by a little hill, I mean, it was probably a 10-foot rise in this field that dropped down. And then there's the wood line where she was at. So I dropped down. I crawled all the way up to the top. And as I peeked over, she was still there and alert. She was, where the fuck you go? I seen him. And so I pulled my rifle up, put it right on her shoulder, squeezed the trigger. Perfect shot, man. She fucking hit the ground like a sack of potatoes. So I'm telling anybody out there that's a skeptic, a 22 250 will put them down. And that was about 80 yards.
Right.
So close shot.
Right.
But it punched a hole straight through her shoulder.
Right.
So
there you go.
Double lung. She didn't go nowhere.
Right.
But I mean, I killed my buck with a 308.
Yeah.
And dude, man, I'm starting to lean against the 308.
Well, it's just so
it's so fucking big.
It is, man.
It causes so much carnage.
Just blow a hole right through.
Yeah, dude. It's so hard to salvage any shoulder meat after that.
I took a 308. This is no shit. I shot the 308. I was with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and her. We hunted on her dad's farm. Well, I was hunting or whatever. Her little sister was hunting in a stand right next to me, and she couldn't have been like 13 or 14 at the time. Well, I hadn't seen nothing all morning. I was walking back, and I went to check on her, and she hadn't seen anything. Well, I was walking back with her, and I pulled this ridge. There's this nice fucking buck right over the ridge, man. I was like, oh, here's your chance, and I was trying to help her. Well, anyway, she pulled up, and I was helping her get lined up. And she shot, and she hit this buck, but she just grazed, and I immediately just pulled this fucking gun from her. Pulled up, and this buck turned ass to me, and I shot, and literally with a 308, shot ass to front this fucking deer, man. Damn. It just shows you, man,
Destroyed
it's too rough of a gun.
Yeah.
It's almost too rough of a gun
it's
to deer
a
hunt
big
with.
caliber.
And I literally, this deer turned ass to me, and
Yeah.
literally shot up the ass of this deer. And
See,
fucked it up, man.
What I've learned though is it's all about you could almost use any caliber, and as long as you take a responsible shot, you'll get pretty good results.
Right.
Like so, I've hunted with everything. I've hunted with 22 250, a 223 AR, a 243, a 270, and a 308. So and a 7.62 by 39, my AK.
Right.
So I've hunted with a very diverse variety of rounds, and I've found that they'll all put a deer on the ground if you put your shot where it needs to go.
Right.
So, I think it's just whatever you're comfortable with. Whatever you're gonna take a good shot with is what you need to hunt with.
I think so.
I mean, my AR, or not my AR too, but my 308 will fucking drop nails, man. And the reason I bought that 22 250 is I was so torn for a while because I kept hearing good things about the 17 HMR, and I bought it specifically for a coyote gun.
Right.
And I was like, man, I hear good stuff about the 17 HMR, but ultimately it was my cousin Rodney. He shoots at 1,000 yards just for fun.
Right.
He's insane.
Right.
And he reloads all his own ammunition. He's got like math books and shit. Like he does it. That's his hobby.
One of those guys.
That's his hobby. And he was telling me, he's like, man, the 22 250 will blow the 17 HMR out of the water. Especially if you want long distance shooting. That's where it's at.
Well, dude, next time you guys go out coyote hunting, literally hit me up, man.
I will.
I'd love to if I'm not busy.
As soon as deer season's over, I'm gonna be hitting it hard.
I will definitely.
He's a farmhand out in Utica.
Okay.
So he's got permission on thousands of acres out there. So he takes me with him quite a bit, and it's a lot of fun, man.
Well, hit me up, man. Like I said, I'm busy a lot, so I can't, whatever. But if I'm free, I'll come.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Man. I'll go
it's
do that
fun
for sure, man.
There's nothing. It's weird how your brain has this reward system. Like, people are like, how can you shoot an animal like that? It's like, shoot an animal. See what your brain tells you about it.
It's a natural instinct.
See what your brain.
It's
as soon as you shoot that animal. My wife grew up in the fucking city. She had no idea what hunting was until she met me. The first time she shot a deer, she was literally shaking. She was so happy.
Right.
Like her
it's that natural instinct,
it
man.
was just so much dopamine rushed in.
Even fishing, dude. I've took younger kids out fishing before, man, that have never been fishing before, man. Watch them catch that first fish and reel it in. There's something about catch and gathering, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
it's just ingrained in us, man.
Food, man. It is. It's a survival thing, and it's
especially with hunting where you put so much effort into one thing. Like you got to go get your license, your tags, then you got to have a rifle, a scope, ammo, practice with that rifle.
Right.
An ATV to pull it out, a truck, trailer to pull it there. You got to have all this shit, get camo. Then you spend countless hours in the freezing fucking cold where it's pitch black outside. You wake up at 3 a.m. every morning to get out there in time, and then you sit there till midday, come down, come home, take a quick nap, go back out.
Well, think about this. Think about how long modern's been modern. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very short.
America's only been America for what
200 years.
Yeah. So even for 100 years into that, people were still hunting to feed their families and stuff. Probably up until the last 50 years, even I would say.
I say this all the time on here, man. Most of the shit we see that people are bitching about, whether it's like PETA or just most of anything, dude, is because we are so bored. We have a ready access of food.
Right.
Most of us way overeat every day, including myself.
For sure.
We go to work every day. We get stuck in these ruts. We just have access to everything.
Right.
So what is our issue? We're at the top of the food chain. We have nothing trying to kill us every day. So now we're just gonna bitch and nitpick and you can't say that word anymore. That's offensive.
Right.
Well, what's offensive when a fucking dinosaur tries to eat you?
Right.
You're not gonna give a fuck what word I call you.
Not a fucking thing.
It's so funny how our where our direction and our perspectives have taken us.
For sure. For sure. But even like I said, with that, so let's just say up until the last 50 years. People have not had a need to hunt because, like you said, there's access of food.
Why would
exactly.
you? It's so much easier just to go to the store.
Yeah.
But however long humans have been on Earth, probably thousands and thousands of years, we've always had to hunt for our food. We've always had to hunt for our food. We've always had to catch and gather. We've always had to go out and gather, grow garden, or go out and find berries or whatever it was and gather. So for 50 years, we haven't had to do that. But for thousands of years, we've had to do that. That's ingrained into our DNA, So there's no doubt about it that you can take a kid into the woods and have them shoot a deer, and they will freak the fuck out the same as your wife
I took
did.
a 7-year-old for youth weekend, and he shot his first deer ever.
Yeah.
And he was so excited.
I bet, yeah.
He helped me field dress it. He helped me skin it. He helped me quarter it.
Yeah.
He took a bite of the heart. Like he was in it, buddy. He was in it.
I've done it, man.
This was a kid
I was
that
made. My cousin that took me hunting for the first time made me fucking take a bite of it.
This is a kid that grew up on Carter Road. I
Yeah.
mean, just in Central Owensboro.
Well,
you know,
I'll say this, and a lot of people would say that it's not the same, but it is. On one of Joe Rogan's podcasts, he has those big cats. What are they called? The ones you were talking about getting?
Maine Coon.
Maine Coon cats. Okay.
Okay.
He says he has this Maine Coon cat.
They get about 27 pounds, about 40,
Phew, that's a
43
big
inches
cat.
long.
Fucking
yeah.
cat.
That's a cat.
that's
One
a
of the
cat I
Tom-
don't
one of the
trust.
Tom- one
I
of the-
barely
yeah,
trust my
one of-
house cat.
One of the Toms I have inside, he's part Maine Coon, and he's half the age of one of the Toms I have. So this Tom Stitch, he's already doubled his size.
Right.
He's
Fuck,
fucking
man.
huge, man. And
You know
they're
what
attack
freaks me out
cats.
about cats?
They're attack cats. They don't. If somebody
Yeah.
disturbs the home, they don't, like a normal cat will go and fucking piss in your boot. They're attack cats. So they go straight forward.
That's what they do, man.
shit.
Yeah.
What the reason I don't like them? All right, you ready for this? If you were to,
I got all kinds
if
of
you were to
reasons.
if you were to like choke to death in your home by yourself,
They'll
they
eat
will
you.
fucking eat
They
you.
will eat you. Yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
they don't.
Immediately.
They don't give a fuck
Dog-
about
they
you.
don't.
A
They're
dog
like,
might
oh,
wait a
check
day."
it out, he's dead. Check it out. You want to bite?
No
Like a
shit.
dog will like cuddle you until it starves to death.
Right.
A cat will eat you the same day.
Yeah, they will.
Right.
That's
Well-
why I don't like them, man.
He has one of these cats, and one of the most interesting things I found is, and some people would say it's not the same, but I will say that it is that he says this cat, he's had it since it was fucking born, pretty much, since it was off the tit, pretty much, and this cat has always been fed all the food that would ever want to eat, all this
Yeah.
canned food, all this, has never ever even been outside except for twice. He said this cat has always been inside, but he said this fucking cat will climb up on the window, and he said there would be a rabbit outside or something. This cat has never ever known to have to hunt. It's
hunt,
always
right.
been fed this food and stuff.
Yeah.
And he said this cat will get up in the fucking window and it'll crouch and it'll growl.
Yeah. It's
and it'll look at
instinctual,
this
man.
fucking thing.
Yeah.
Maine,
And
Maine
it's-
Coons have a tick about them too. They don't meow.
Even
they have
cats do that.
They
though.
have
Right.
like a.
They just wanna
it's a
hunt.
weird. It's a weird sound.
growl
They
almost.
tick. Yeah, almost a growl.
But it's ingrained into them, and that's my point. Is like even these humans that think that they've never even been a part of that lifestyle. They've never even had a rural upbringing. I'll say, where they've had to do that. You can take, like you said, these kids out in the woods and have them hunt their first deer, and it's literally
They'll
shake after they
can't.
do it.
They
It's
just,
it's
their
a
body can't even control
It's
itself.
ingrained into us. It's
Yeah.
part of it, and no matter how you can teach a person, these people are taught that that's wrong, it's inhumane, blah blah blah. They're taught that, but even so, you take that same person out and have them do it. And
Yeah.
I'm
And I'll tell you what, I'll challenge anybody, man. You go get a store bought hamburger, and I'll make you a fresh venison burger from a deer I just killed this fucking week.
blow your mind.
It'll blow your fucking
I know.
mind, man. I've got pounds of ground venison in the freezer right
Yeah.
now. Cannot wait.
Yeah,
It's insane, man. It's insane.
for sure. I guarantee it. Man, I hate to cut you off, man.
Oh, we're
but
good.
yeah,
We've been
Yeah,
going for a while, buddy.
we're rolling at about 3 hours now.
Hey, that's a good podcast.
It goes quick, man.
Yeah.
It
That's a
goes
good
quick.
podcast.
So
man.
thank you everybody for watching. I
Thank you, guys.
appreciate it. Once again,
like and share our giveaway post, fucks.
yeah.
that's
Hell
right.
yeah.
All right, thank y'all. See you guys.
My man.